Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Bam, 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 bam. I am not Drake Toll. Most days I wish I was, but I am J.D. Pickell alongside Drake Toll in Indianapolis. This is Up Tempo on what is arguably the biggest day in Baylor athletics history. Drake, how are you doing, my man? All the way in Indy in your hotel room.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. This is the day. This is the single-handedly, I don't care what you say, Ashley Hodge and I had the conversation last night. This is the day, the biggest day in Baylor sports history as the Bears compete in their first modern national championship. I'll take you back to 1948 even when they competed in the national championship. Back then, schools decided whether or not they wanted to play in the NCAA tournament or the NIT tournament. So some of the best competition in the country, Adolph Rupp and Kentucky, would play in the NIT tournament. So this right here, far and away, is the biggest game that Baylor's ever played in any sport and the biggest day in Baylor sports history. And we get to live it.
We're rocking and rolling, man. We're rocking and rolling. And that's interesting to say that Baylor bypassed their eligibility for the NIT this year. I'm glad to hear that we did that and we're playing tonight. Going to be a great show today, man. How is the accommodations over there in Indianapolis? Everything good? Look, got a good setup over there. What's the situation in Indy?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't tell you guys this yet. I hadn't told you guys this yet, I guess I should say. But I will actually be in studio for the show tomorrow. So kind of the way that my thing has gone is that I landed in Indianapolis yesterday afternoon, got dinner with Ashley, got dinner with Smokey, was able to hang out with those guys for a little bit and some of their buddies. Some awesome war stories. Imagine being at that table. It was great. And so then I'm going to go to the game tonight. It'll be over probably local time somewhere around midnight. You got the cutting of the nets. We'll watch that for a while, whoever wins. And then after that, I jump on a flight in Lexington. So I got to drive from Indy to Lexington, 6 a.m. Lexington, fly back to Dallas, land in Dallas at 7:48, and then drive from Dallas to Waco. And we'll be live in studio on Uptempo tomorrow.
I love you so much. Talk about a guy that cares about the program, the radio show. Drake Toll, the man, the myth, the legend. Against all odds, getting in. We got callers coming in, 254-339-1122. Me and Drake are going to be breaking it down. Stephen from Virginia, talk to us, my man. You are about to be on the air here once I press this button. And Stephen from Virginia has been sending us videos today of a song that I will not mention as it is taboo in this studio. Stephen, you are on the air with SicEm365, myself and Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims in the studio. Talk to us, man.
Hey, guys, it's not my fault. Coach Drew posted that video, okay? I cried. It's been emotional. And I want to say this, regardless of what happens tonight, this team is a championship team. This team won the Big 12. This team made the Final Four. This team made the championship game. They're playing in the game of the century. They didn't get to play last year. They've stepped up beyond all expectations. This is the greatest team in program history, but this is also the biggest day sports-wise in my life. And I have seen my team win World Series. I have lived in cities when that team has won the Super Bowl. I have seen the Stanley Cup. Nothing matches what this month has been like. Nothing matches how, I'm going to go over to my friend's house to watch the big game tonight. We're going to be watching Baylor.
Yeah. Stephen, how much sleep did you get last night?
Not much. I'm struggling. I saw Drake post that he wasn't sleeping, and at that moment, I had just decided that I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
And I finally fell asleep at like 4:30, and I woke up because I slept on my shoulder funny. That's how bad I needed this sleep, is I had to get in the most uncomfortable position and wear out my shoulder to get some sleep.
It's brutal. Drake, you got anything to add here? I want to make sure that we're passing it back and forth here as you are in Indy. So it's a long throw, but you got anything to add here with our boy Steven from Virginia on the line?
Hear from you. I'll tell you this.
And we're having some technical difficulties. We're going to get some earphones over to our boy.
We need some earphones.
Dude, he's grinding. Sure. Dude, he's grinding. Let's just say that. This guy loves this show so
hard.
much. He loves this show.
Let's tell you, there's no one that I admire more than Drake Toll. My whole life, I wanted to be doing exactly what Drake Toll is doing right now. That man works hard. If you're a Baylor student and you listen, I hope you voted for him for president if you haven't already. And, you know, I might get on my House of Cards stuff. We might not push anybody in front of a train, but that's because there aren't trains in Waco. So
yeah,
we're going to make sure our boy is looking out for the student body.
That is,
and he's there.
Yep.
He's there. He's a fan. He looks out for the show. And it's not a podcast, man. It's a live radio show.
It is not a podcast. Could not have said it better myself. Steven, thanks so much. Before we get out of here, Bear games, leading score, and how are you celebrating tonight when they cut down the Nets?
So leading scorer tonight, I really have a feeling Maceo is going to come out. I feel like Gonzaga is not really going to know how. It's really hard to prepare for someone like Maceo and Jared Butler, too, to a degree. But Maceo, people think that because of his longer shot that they might be able to press up on him and he can beat you to the basket with floaters. So I have Maceo as the leading scorer for the Bears tonight. And if they win, I'm probably crying a lot. And if I don't die of excitement of some kind of heart attack from wondering if we're living in an alternate universe or not, you know, I might pop some bottles.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
I love that.
Later, guys.
I absolutely love that. Steven, you're the man.
Okay, so my audio should be good now. You guys can hear me in the studio.
We got you. We got you loud and clear, my man. Anything to add to that? Steven from Virginia just laid his heart on the line, and he also said that you are basically his role model, and I echoed that vehemently.
I love it. Guys, I just want to say this, and I know we got a lot of calls coming in that we got to get to, and it's a caller-driven show, 254-339-1122. Give us a call right now. We want to hear from you on this game day. But I'll say this for the folks out there. Soak this in. Even if you're not nervous yet, you should start to be feeling a little bit in there. We had a caller, last week that had mentioned 71 years. And that in his 71 years, he had never seen this level of competitiveness from Baylor Athletics, never seen this magnitude of a game. So call us 254-339-1122 with your thoughts. I know we have a few more here on the caller line, but for a guy like Steven, same kind of thing. He went through the UNLV game, and I'll tell you, there's going to be some bubbly pop tonight, whether Baylor wins or loses. It's just a matter of how celebratory or how happy or sad that bubbly will be.
And bubbly could also be LaCroix, could be Perrier. There's a lot of different bubbly that you could be popping, whether you're of age or not. Could not agree more. We got Cam coming in here from Arlington, Texas. Cam, you were on the air with SicEm365, myself and Drake Toll, all the way at the main event in Indianapolis.
Cam, let's go.
What up?
What's up, my man? How are you doing?
Great.
What's your thoughts on tonight's game, man? Give us the breakdown.
I think that, tonight's game or our last game?
Man, give us both. Give us the full entree here.
Okay, well, for the game against Houston, we did a great job since they are a really good offensive rebounding team of not letting them get too many offensive boards. And, they didn't have the best game, but I think we played lights out that game. And tonight, I think all we got to do is stop Timmy out of the paint, and I think we can cut down the nets tonight.
I like it, Cam. I like it. How you feeling about? So you said Timmy. He's the one to stop. How about Suggs? Jalen Suggs for Gonzaga is a really, really good guard. Do you like Maceo Teague's defense to be able to stop him tonight?
I was thinking we should put Mitchell on Suggs tonight.
I like it. So I think you're exactly right. One of the things that we've kind of gone back and forth, though, I like Mitchell on Suggs. However, the ball handler, the guy that's going to have the basketball tonight for Gonzaga is going to be Nembhard. So it's a matter of who do you want guarding
facilitates the offense? You want Maceo stopping the offense or Maceo stopping the score? Scott Drew's got to make that decision tonight. I think it'll be interesting with which way he's going to go on that one. What do you think? You like Davion Mitchell to guard Jalen Suggs tonight?
100%. I mean, he's not the defensive player of the year for no reason. I mean, I think he can shut Suggs down, and I think Maceo Teague's wingspan can keep Nimhard from doing much. I mean, and then we just I'm going back and forth between Vital or Samba on Drew Timme, because Drew Timme's got really good footwork for a big man. So I don't know who Scott Drew's going to put on Timme, but
Cam, here's my thing. Here's why I feel so confident, because going into this whole game, this whole season, it's been, if Baylor gets a dominant big like Timme that they match up against, they're in trouble. But what Baylor does so well, and why I think this matchup favors Baylor, is because it's not exactly a matchup. Baylor's going to switch every single time that ball changes hands. So Timmy's not just going to get flow. He's not just going to get everyday John, not just Vital. He's going to see all three, potentially on 3 different possessions. So when it comes down to will it be a matchup, yes and no, because it's going to be a bunch of Baylor bigs against Timme. He's going to see a lot of different flavors tonight, and I think that's going to be enough to wear him down and eventually get Baylor out in transition, which is where they're going to do their best work.
I love it. Hey, Cam, let's hit our Bear games here real quick. Who's your going to be leading scorer tonight and your final score prediction?
I think Jared Butler's going to have another good game. He started off slow in the tournament and stuff, and I think he's going to have a big game. I also think Davion Mitchell's going to have a big – I think we're so unpredictable. It's hard for Mark Few to pick one person to shut down because we have so many guys that could produce 20, 30 points. So, but I'm going to go with Jared Butler.
I love it.
Jared Butler, what's your final score prediction? And who's going to final score prediction, and what do we say? How you're going to celebrate tonight?
Final score, I don't think Gonzaga let UCLA score 90 points on them. They're not even going to touch 90 against Baylor. Wow. They may not even touch 80, but I'm going to go final score 82-77 Baylor.
Let's go, Cam. Drop the mic. Cam, thanks so much for calling in. We got to get him in studio here in the near future. Cam is probably one of my favorite callers, and it wouldn't be up tempo unless we had T-Rex calling in. T-Rex, as I understand, is in Indy. Is that right? T-Rex, you're on the air with Drizzy and myself.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, I'm in Indy. I couldn't miss this for anything, guys. It's just one of those things. I had to make it happen. I had to be here. I've been here since Thursday. It's been a good time. I'm still alive. So, as I call in from a bar.
That's good. We're glad you're still alive.
The Indianapolis party scene is popping, T-Rex.
Hey, man, we had breakfast this morning, walked around, had to go to the CVS, get some medicine, get some headache, get some cough drops, soothe that throat, because come about 9 o'clock tonight, we're going to be screaming our heads off.
Woo! Well worth it. It'll be well worth it.
Yeah, how have you enjoyed your stay in Indianapolis, T-Rex, and then what do you expect to see tonight from Baylor?
Man, it's been a good time. This is a town built for walking. Everything's within walking distance for the most part. Or you can get a little scooter, just don't fall off it like I did on Thursday. Don't drink the scooter. But no, I was trying to take a video and I just lost my balance. But no, it's a great town. Hopefully, I wish that it was 100% capacity. We get that real Final Four experience, but we'll take what we can get from 71 years. So I ain't going to complain. It's a great time. Seen a lot more Baylor fans than Zag fans, a lot more than I saw Houston fans. UCLA, shout out to them. They showed up on Saturday night. There's a lot of them there. I'm surprised they could afford the Final Four trip with the property taxes they pay out there. So shout out to them. Wish the game would have went a little differently, but hey, I didn't want to make Cinderella cry. So glad we're taking on the Zags to ruin their perfect season. Bears 169 as always. Injected into my veins. I'm ready to rock and roll. But realistically, no, I'm going Bears 84-72.
I like that. You're sticking with Cam. They're not even touching 80, a team that averages 91 points this season. And I think I could see that happening, Drake. If Baylor comes out and plays the way they're capable of playing defensively, they may not touch 80.
Well, hey, man, I don't know what Timmy's going to do. But every time he's at the free throw line, I found out his girlfriend, she goes to SMU, and her name's Hannah. And guess what, Timmy? This may not actually be true, but she's sliding in my DMs, and you're going to know about it all night long.
Oh, wow. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to leave that between you and Timmy. We're having a little bit of issues with Drake. He is grinding. Again, a guy who absolutely lays his everything on the line for this program. T-Rex, I want to get your thoughts on this. First question I asked Armstrong when I came in the studio, and we got your brother Matt in D.C. behind you, so I'll try and make it quick for you. First question I asked Armstrong was, hey, does Baylor even want to run with Gonzaga? Are they going to try and run, or are they going to slow it down and play that post game, which presents new problems with Timmy? What would you like to see from this team tonight in terms of the schematics and getting out and running with these horses that Gonzaga has?
I think we need to strike fast. Let's strike fast. Let's get out ahead. Let's not leave any possibility that there's any rest stuff going on, let's say, whether or not that ever happens or doesn't happen. I don't ever leave it up to the refs. I'm not going to blame the refs. But let's not even allow that to be a possibility. Let's not have a close game. If we get up by 10, why not be up by 15? Don't slow down. Keep shooting. If the shot's falling, keep pulling the trigger. And then play defense, man. This team got exposed on Saturday night by UCLA.
Yeah.
They exposed them. We got the film. They're beatable. They're not Goliath. Oh, hell, even Goliath got taken down, so maybe they are Goliath.
Yeah.
And we're David, All I know is that Martin Luther didn't staple the thesis on that store and tell the Pope a piece of his mind for the Baptists to lose to a bunch of Catholics. SicEm Bears.
How about that? Men lie, women lie, tape don't lie. T-Rex, thanks for calling in, boss.
SicEm Bears, I love y'all.
SicEm Bears. And we got your brother Matt in D.C. coming on. I think we got Drizzy coming back here in just a second. Is he on, Armstrong?
Give us another second.
All right, Drake, again, the best part of this show is coming back in, but we got you and myself holding it down. We're doing our best, man. We're doing what we can. Matt in D.C., you are on with SicEm365, or you're about to be on with SicEm365 as soon as this button works. There we go. We got you on from the nation's capital. Matt, what is going on, boss?
J.D., I love your shirt. I got the same one.
Heck yeah, man. PatMcAfee.com, is that what it was? This is a Christmas gift.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest right now. I mean, there's days where, because you and Pat McAfee, y'all both come on at the same exact time. I've been listening to Pat McAfee for years, and there are days where I do flip back and forth between the shows because I like to hear both of them. So just being honest, but I love that shirt. Good call. But hey,
appreciate it.
It's game day. It's for the national championship. I can't believe we've been here. If you're a Baylor fan or whoever's listening, take some time today just to think back to where we've been, what we've been through, and where we're at now. Just take a moment, and then you'll appreciate it even more. That's what I did all weekend after we knocked off Houston. Let's go back to that Houston game real quick.
Yeah.
Houston did exactly what they did all tournament. They shot 38%. We just happened to shoot 50, and we shut them down. I knew all we had to do was shoot our normal 45, and we were set, and we took care of business.
Yeah,
that was fun. Today, good.
Does that worry you at all that Baylor's been so unconscious from deep? I mean, at a certain point, it's like, hey, you live by the sword, die by the sword kind of thing. Are you worried at all with their reliance on the three-point shot and being so dangerous from outside? Or are you like, hey, if it's rolling, let's keep going?
I used to be that way back in when we had Brady Heslip, and a lot of times we did live and die by the three, but as the Villanova game showed us, we can change it up if we need to and start driving inside, and just in the case that the threes don't fall. I think as long as we repeat the same performance we had on Saturday, and we can if we can get Gonzaga to under 50% shooting, we're going to win the game. Because I look back this tournament, they're averaging about 55, 56%. So if we both shoot the same, it's going to go to 91, 90. But if we can get their shooting percentage down, we're going to have a shot to take care of it.
Absolutely love it. Drake, what are your thoughts on that, man? I know you're grinding right now from the hotel in Indy, talking about three-point shooting with Baylor right now.
Yeah.
Do you love that? I mean, is that something that makes you nervous with how well they've played as of late? I mean, at a certain point, you got to think the well one runs dry. Does it run dry at the wrong time? Give me the whole breakdown for you where that falls for you in terms of three-point shooting.
Well, first and foremost, can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, you sound great. You sound great and look great.
Oh, my goodness. I know we've had so much stuff going on that's going across the board right here. We're working through a couple of technical difficulties, but I think we got it figured out. KMC Candle says, Drake the man, when do you go to class? I skipped my math class this morning to be in Indianapolis to watch the Baylor Bears play. Matt in D.C., to talk about your question, though, if Baylor comes out, they're going to have to. If Baylor comes out and shoots like they did against Houston or shoots like they did in the first half of the Arkansas game, Gonzaga's in trouble. Here's the thing with the Zags. You're not going to hold Gonzaga under 70 points. That just doesn't happen. There's not a world in which Gonzaga doesn't get their 70. That's how it goes. But if Baylor can come out and score 85, 90 points like we've seen them do this season, they're going to be fine. I think Baylor does have to shoot the basketball well. I don't know if they have to shoot 50% well, but if Baylor comes out and makes 12 3-pointers and shoots 26, I like those odds a lot. I think Baylor's in a really good spot with that. When you're putting up 36 points from deep, I need the bench, though. That's my key. I need the bench to put up 30 points tonight. If the bench does not score 30 points, Baylor, I'm not going to say they lose, but Baylor's in trouble.
Couldn't agree more. Matt, what else you got for us, big dog?
I mean, I'm just going to say, hey, if there's any players listening, hey, it's a national championship game. If possibly, I mean, more than likely we'll be the only one these players ever play in unless, we can get back next year, but there's no guarantee to that. Yeah. So I'll say to all the players, hey, if you see the shot, take it. No regrets tonight. If it's a good look, take it. If not, dribble inside, get the 2-point layup or get the foul all night and just repeat. Play defense and have a damn blast.
Matthew Meyer. I don't know if he's ever needed a second green light. I feel like he just catches it. It's ready, fire, aim for him. Matt, before we get you out of here, Bear games, final score, leading score, celebration.
Final score, I think it's going to be 88-80 Baylor. And just, hey, have a 10-point lead going to the final minute. We ain't got to worry about the rest. We ain't got to worry about anything. Just have a 10-point lead going to the final minute. Leading scorer, I think, is going to be Jared Butler. And the celebration is going to be everyone in my party spraying champagne on me and dousing all my favorite Baylor memorabilia in champagne and hats, everything I own.
It's a good smell.
Letting it soak in all night.
Awesome. Smells like winning. Well, Matt, thanks for calling. Enjoy the game tonight. We're going to keep this thing rolling here, boss. Thanks so much for your call.
Thank you.
Awesome. We got Catherine who got disconnected. I'm sorry. We're rolling through these calls. Catherine, thanks so much for being patient, coming on the air and talking with us some more Baylor basketball. Catherine, you're live. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Gotcha. Got you loud and clear.
Okay, cool. I'm here in Indy walking, so I'm out of breath, doing a little jog. But I'm so excited for tonight. I'm very angry about the national media coverage after we slaughtered the number 2 team with one of the best defenses. We get, we're the second best team. Gonzaga goes toe-to-toe with an 11-seed play-in team. And yes, they're wonderful and offense is dynamite, but why is it certain that they're going to just defeat us? They've never seen a defense like ours. I get angry about that.
Yeah. Drake, you want to take this one? I agree. Drake, you want to add in here?
I couldn't agree more. I think, Kevin, I think we've seen a lot of stuff from the national media that I'll say, let's start here. The local media is covering it so well. So you go outlets like SicEm365 and others, the Waco Trib, those guys are doing a great job at finding inside content, talking to the parents, talking to the players, finding stories that I didn't know about. I think there are some outlets nationally, too. I've read a couple things and seen a couple spots on ESPN where I'm like, oh, I didn't know X, Y, Z about this certain player. That said, when you turn your TV on, what do you see? You see Gonzaga. You see Bulldogs. You see Blue. All you're seeing right now is Gonzaga talk because they've got a shot to go undefeated. So I get that part. But I'll tell you now, Catherine, I love it. I eat it up. I think this team eats it up. Don't talk about us. Don't talk about Baylor. That's their mantra right now. So the more they talk about Gonzaga and not the underdog, I think the bigger chip is on Baylor's shoulder right now. What do you think about that, Catherine?
Yeah, and I hope that Jared says he doesn't listen to media. Mark does. I don't know. I'm sure they're getting bits and pieces, and I hope they play with a chip on their shoulder. And I hope they show them that this game is going to be, to me, no different than any tough Big 12 game, and we know how to play those. Just Gonzaga, I don't know. Yeah, they beat Kansas. They beat West Virginia by 5. So did we. It's like, I don't know. I feel like we're battle-tested, and I can't wait to show it tonight.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm excited because we talked about, is Gonzaga going to be a team that picks up steam as the tournament goes on and plays harder competition, or are we going to see them kind of run out of gas like we potentially saw them against UCLA? I mean, a team that has had a great run, but they're also an 11 seed and has no business hanging around Gonzaga and losing in overtime by 3 points. I mean, UCLA, I tweeted it, UCLA was a soft call and a half-court shot away from playing for a national title as an 11 seed. That shouldn't happen when you were arguably yes, when you're supposed to be the best team of all time. Are you kidding me?
They just couldn't stop the ball. Like, get in front of that ball, and the game goes to double overtime.
I cannot agree more. Cannot agree more, but again, I'm not on scholarship playing basketball for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm 5'11". I couldn't tell you. Catherine, before we get you out of here, Bear games we do on this show. Drake Toll, the one who makes this drink stir. He's the straw that stirs this drink, I think is what I was trying to say. Leading scorer.
Yeah, I'm a big Drake fan.
Oh, you and me both. I mean, he's my man crush every day, not just man crush Monday.
Laugh now, cry later. Big Drake fan. Laugh now, cry later.
He's also a modest guy. When it comes to tonight, final score, leading score, and your tactic of celebration when Baylor cuts down the nets.
I think it's going to be in the 80s. I think it'll be like 88, 85. That's what I have on my bracket that's got the most points right now. We win. I'm fluctuating between the 4 guards on leading scorer, but my gut tells me it's going to be Davion. I don't know why. I normally would go with Jared, but I'm thinking Davion. But I do hope Jared is hot again. He needs to be hot. He needs to play like he did last game. And then the celebration will be painful tomorrow. That's all I know. It will not be fun coming back to Waco.
Hey.
Oh, I love it, Catherine. I love it. Man, it's a great day to be underage, so that my celebration and my tomorrow will be probably a little bit better than the folks that will be out there having a little extracurricular fun. I'll say that, Catherine. Though, thank you for your call. That was great.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Awesome, man. No shortage of awesome calls today, and they're still. We got 3 people still in the queue, and we're just going to keep rolling. We got a caller here from Hondo, Texas. Undoubtedly wants to talk a little bit of Baylor Natty. You know what I'm saying?
G-Dub, baby.
Is that big G-Dub? G-Dub. It's Natty Day, baby. What's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. Just kind of anxiously waiting.
That makes 4 of us. What's going on, man? What's your thoughts on tonight's game?
Like I think it was last week I told y'all that we've got Suggs. Suggs he's the head of the snake. So I'm not saying that you need to shut him down, but you need to make it difficult for him. And they asked Davion about that, and he said, I won't be able to stop him because he's a really good player, but I just have to make it hard for him, which I like that mindset with Davion.
Yeah, and it'll be by committee. I think that's the biggest thing that has been encouraging for me as I look across the board. Maybe there's not a matchup that I love with Jalen Suggs outside of Davion Mitchell, but the fact that it's going to be a myriad of guys, Vital, Teague, Butler, and then you throw Davion Mitchell back on. I mean, with the amount Baylor switches on defense, he's going to get a lot of different looks tonight, and I think that's going to be what makes the difference for us defensively.
Well, and then even when you get JTT switched on him, JTT can move his feet, so that's not an easy matchup for Suggs either, because JTT can move his feet too.
Yeah, Drake, what do you think about that, boss?
I think JTT does a great job switching outside. I'm not sure that we'll see him truly on Jalen Suggs at any point tonight, but I know one of the best things, one of the things that I remember, an old adage from my junior high playing days, the best man defense looks like a zone. It has the movement, the help of a zone. So if you get a situation where JTT is up at the front of the defense, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if they screen Timmy up on Suggs, switch Mitchell onto Timmy, which I don't think would be an awful, terrible, terrible mismatch. And then JTT has to guard Jalen Suggs. We know, here's the deal. JTT, not the best on-ball defender on the team. Not at all. What he does well, though, is he works his A word off, and I would say it whether we're not FCC regulated, but he works his butt off on the outside to make up for it. It's the effort. You see it from Matthew Meyer, Mark Vital, JTT. Those guys are just playing hard basketball. I think that's what's going to help JTT on the outside if he's ever mismatched against Suggs out there. So I have confidence in that matchup, G-Dub. G-Dub, how do you feel, though? You get a little nervous yet?
Dude, I've been nervous since the game ended with Houston.
I don't think you're alone there. I do not think you're alone one bit. Backtracking a little bit, because I know we got other callers I want to get to, but also it's going to be crucial with officiating tonight. Like, I don't know if that's just the most Captain Obvious thing to say in the world, but officiating will be enormous with how they choose to blow the whistle with Timmy. Because, I mean, they're going to have to be physical with him down low. With Vital, I mean, he's going to have to throw a little extra shoulder, use his weight, use his strength to keep him out of the paint, and then down low with Chema Chachwa, Everyday John. I mean, if one of those guys gets into foul trouble early, I'm going to be biting my nails. I am. It's a filthy habit, but I'm going to be biting my nails if he gets in foul trouble.
Well, and then, even with Chris Kisper, with the pin down screens, I want to see how they defend that, because that's how they got back in the game against UCLA, with him coming down pin downs and rub screens.
Yeah, man, got to defend shooters. Before we get you out of here, final score, leading score, method of celebration tonight when Baylor decides to cut down those sweet, sweet nets.
I'll go 85-72. No, I'll go 85-79 with either Davion or Maceo. And my method would probably go into Whataburger and getting a large chocolate milkshake.
Sounds good to me.
Free pub right there. Free pub for Whataburger right there. That's a safe celebration, GW. You can't go wrong with it, man. It's always great to hear from you, too.
Yes, sir.
G-Dub, appreciate you. One of the best, man. He's one of the good ones. There's no bad ones. No bad ones, but he's one of the great ones. Sorry, you're going to say something, Drake.
He's one of the great ones. I see that Philip Shelley is on the line talking about the Natty, the national championship game. I want to mention before we get to Philip, I know you're queuing those in there,
I queued him in. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's perfect. That's perfect. I want to say this to Philip before Philip starts. JD, thanks for holding down the fort in the studio and taking these callers and making sure we get people's thoughts in here. And second, it was Philip. The last time you called us, you gave a special shout out to the staff. And now here you are. Yeah. I guess it's only been about a week, and Baylor's in the national championship game. Kind of what's going through your mind?
Crazy stat. 8 years ago today, when I was a freshman, we brought back the NIT trophy. First time in Baylor history. 8 years ago to this day, popped up on my Facebook thing this morning. And you can't think about how awesome it is for that staff. Coach Tang, Charlie Melton, Coach Drew, now here they are fighting for a national championship. I mean, that's awesome. It's a great day to be a Bear. And it's going to be even better tomorrow.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, what's your nerves like right now as a guy who's been a part of this program? I mean, you're seeing this in a little bit of a different lens, having some of the people that you know personally and that you respect and are your friends that you love. What's your nervous level like? I mean, I'm a fan. I'm pretty nervous. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm anxious all day. I even when I walked in, I told my guys, don't talk to me today unless it's something important, because I'm locked in. I've got podcasts going. I'm listening to you guys, of course. I wore the same outfit I wore on Saturday because we can't mess this up. It's all about routines.
All about routine.
Bingo. I'm an outfit guy, Philip. I know I tweeted that the other day. I have been tweeting an uncharacteristic amount lately. I'm trying to set myself amongst the Baylor Twitter great. And don't change it up. That was what my tweet says. It was the don't shave, don't shower, don't brush your teeth, don't do anything that you would not normally. So here it is. No one change anything. Don't shave, don't get a haircut, keep your profile picture and your Twitter header the same, wear your lucky shirts only for the game. That's a rule. Don't put your lucky shirt on until like a half hour before the game. You can't wear it all day. That wears the luck off. And don't do anything out of the ordinary. Otherwise, you're going to jinx this thing. Speaking of jinxing, Armstrong, did you see the video that Baylor posted on their Twitter page?
Well, I mean, I didn't see it I didn't watch it because that would have been cursing Baylor. But the hundreds of people who did watch it, this is on your head. I don't know how Baylor. I don't know what Baylor was thinking that it was a good idea to tweet a one shining moment video before the national. Can you just wait? Can we just wait, please?
Gonzaga probably has been watching it too, though, right? We're not the only people at this point that are watching that kind of thing, right? Don't you think?
Gonzaga, they're pros. Philip, what is your? I know we've been over this superstition. Yeah, Philip, do you have a superstition going into today?
I actually turned back to, I'm listening to the same playlist I used to listen to when I was the equipment manager. So I'm walking on that same playlist.
There we go,
I'm running through that same playlist from back in the day. That's what I'm going with.
I love that. Phil, as you're kind of the analytical mind here, I mean, probably you've seen more basketball than I could have ever hoped to watch in my life. What is the keys to tonight's game? We're putting you on the spot here a little bit, but I want to know what has to happen for Baylor to play how I think they're capable of playing and to win this game.
You got to set the tone. So I told my brother this the other day when we were talking out the Houston game. The play of the game, first possession, Flo Thamba laid that guy out on when they were going for that after that first shot. Laid him out, sent him to the baseline. You have to do that to Drew Timme. Set the tone early. Like, this ain't going to be easy, buddy. Like,
no easy buckets.
This is a war. That's going to be the key, is that we've got to be more physical than Gonzaga. 100%.
I'm on board for that. You good with that, Drake? A little Mark Vital shoulder in the first minute? Just say, hey, you know, we're here.
Yeah, eat a foul real quick.
No,
yeah, just lay him out. Let him know.
Philip, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not okay with that because we need to have Mark Vital with as few fouls as possible. Give me the Flo Thamba Colt. Give me the Flo Thamba like headlock to set the tone early on, or even a JTT. Those guys haven't been in awful foul trouble, but by God, put bubble wrap around Mark Vital, tie his hands behind his back. I don't care what it takes. But if Mark Vital has 5 fouls with 10 minutes left in the game tonight and Baylor's up 5, the Bears lose the game. Mark Vital's got to stay in the game. He's got to play hard, but he's got to play smart basketball to not foul out. Let's hit these Bear games, JD, and grab a break real quick and then roll these callers on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, bro. We're going to go ahead and hit this right now. Final score. We're past the Final Four. We're living in the past right now. Final score prediction, leading score, and method of celebration tonight when this thing hits triple zeros and the Bears are national champions.
I think it's going to be a defensive game, to be honest with you. I mean, you're going to have those nerves come off the bat. I think I'm going low. I'm going, 75-70. Bears all day.
Interesting. A low
I
score.
think it's going to be a grind. Last 8 minutes are going to be lockdown defense. I mean, it's not going to be a slug. It's not going to be a score. I think it's going to be more of a slugfest.
I love it. Who's your leading scorer tonight?
I'm going. You always got to have a Matthew Meyer.
Wow. Yep. Matthew Meyer time.
Me too.
Matthew Meyer time.
Me too. Matthew Meyer's got 18 points tonight. Matthew Meyer, 18 points. Jared Butler, 15. Adam Flagler, 16. Give me Maceo with another 17. I love a good chunk of points from those 4 guys. Davion with 12. High-scoring game needs a action. I love Matthew Meyer leading score.
Yeah, I'm all about that as well. I'm all in for that. Final question. How are you turning up tonight, man, when they win this whole deal?
Oh, as soon as I get in the car, it's BMX all the way home.
Okay.
And then as soon as the game locks in, it's if we win, man, when we win, it's going to be tears. It's going to be joy. It's going to be, it's just going to be a good time. I can't wake the daughters up. It'll be too late, but there might be some yelling and screaming.
I love it. Y'all going to make me lose control up in here. Philip, thanks so much for calling in, man. Enjoy the game. As always, appreciate your call.
You'll have a good one.
Awesome.
Hey, make sure we got to have these next callers hang on the line here.
Oh, yeah.
And hang on the line over the course of this break. And when we come back, I tell you what, we'll grab these callers, pull it today. We'll keep on rolling. We got a loaded guest list today, too. We're going to work out some of these audio issues, too, over the course of the break. But, JD, man, thanks for doing what you're doing.
Dude, this is a blast for me. I'm happy to be doing this. I'm happy you're in Indy. Like you said, we'll keep this thing rolling when we come back from a break. We got 2 calls on the line we want to get to, so please, please, please hang around with us. This, as Drake Toll would say, is Up-Tempo.
The national championship game is set, and it's the one we've all been waiting for. The Baylor Bears will face the Gonzaga Bulldogs tonight at 8:20 on CBS for the national championship game. The teams that have been 1-2 all year long finally face off after their earlier meeting in the season was canceled due to COVID. Baylor absolutely stomped number 2 seed Houston 78-59 in the Final Four to reach the championship game. And Gonzaga beat 11 seed UCLA only by 3 points on a last-second buzzer beater in overtime from Jalen Suggs. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84, and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans and all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrapped fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese, and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrapped fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
And welcome back in on this very fine National Championship Monday. Golly, that feels good to say. I was talking to Armstrong during the break. I said, we have a National Championship game tonight for Baylor University. 2 years ago, you would have said, that's craziness. You said, no way. In what sport? And we're having it tonight, and it's been so fun taking everybody's calls. I want to get to them. And someone asked me, I think it was a couple days ago, it was Andrew Robertson. And he just said, why will Up-Tempo succeed? It's for a class project. I said, I don't know if it will succeed. But I said, if it does, it'll be because people continue to be excited about what we're excited about, and they love joining in with us. Got Jack Wheeler, our father, man who calls in all the time, calling in right now to talk some Baylor basketball with myself and Drake Toll. Jack Wheeler, Let's talk some ball, baby. What's going on?
Guys, it's here. This is it, baby. I mean, if y'all remember y'all's very first show, I asked you what your Baylor hot take was for the year. Then y'all asked me what mine was, and my not so hot take was that we'd be playing in this tonight and that we would win it. We are only one step away from that hot take coming true.
That hot take's looking hot right now.
Jack Wheeler, our father, baby. Man, it just makes me so happy. I'm hearing the intro and the audio come through my phone. I'm hearing, like, this is unbelievable. You got to pinch yourself. We're analyzing the national championship game right now, which we football when we started this show. But there were two teams we didn't care about. This is Baylor. Everybody in the country is analyzing this night, and we get to do it on the front line. I'm sitting in a hotel room in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm looking out of the cornfield that's right by Lucas Oil Stadium that Baylor's about to play in the national championship in. This is unexplainably cool. It's a moment none of us will ever forget. And I'll tell you what, Jack, all of us are going to tell our kids and our grandkids. I tweeted it out. God, Pap telling the same damn national championship story for the 17th time. That's us. We get to do that. Not everybody does. Jack, think about the folks that went to college, no knock to you, at Transylvania University in Kentucky, right? Or East Kentucky, Mississippi State. Like, those folks are just, they don't have a national championship story. We do.
Yeah, we do.
It's beautiful, man.
It's crazy.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Jack, Bear Games question for today. Final score, leading score for tonight, and what you're doing after Baylor wins the national title tonight.
Oh, man. I'm going to say 77-72. I think they will keep it close, but as a lot of people have said earlier, I think they're just going to shut down defense at the very last half of the second half. I think the majority of the country is just sleeping on us. I know that sounds weird because everyone knows we're the top two. But all these people just think, oh, Gonzaga's just going to dominate. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people that have seen us but have not really watched enough of us. And even right now, preparing for this game, I wore a certain shirt for the first 4 rounds. For whatever reason, the game against Houston, I wore a different shirt, and we absolutely dominated Houston. So I'm wearing the other shirt I was wearing for the first 4 rounds for the whole entire day, and I'm putting that other shirt on right before game time and wearing that for the rest of the thing. So hopefully that works. And when we do win tonight, I'm going to be happy tears, call some friends, call buddies, just be excited. Yeah, and hope we get some sleep that night. This is incredible.
Sleep is overrated. Jack, love it so much, man. Love you. Thankful for you to call in. And enjoy tonight, man. Like Drake said, it's history. Let's soak it all in.
Wow. Let's keep yelling.
Oh, yeah. By the way, score for tonight. It's going to be Matthew Meyer time all day. 21 points.
Set the clocks. Daylight savings. Matthew Meyer time coming a little early tonight. Thanks again, Jack. Really appreciate you calling in. We got Alex from Houston calling. Alex wants to talk a little bit about Baylor Gonzaga and how it relates to USC Texas back in 2005. I'm excited to talk about this. We still got Drake. Is Drake still on there?
Drake's still on here, but
beautiful.
Our colors are not. Hold on.
Okay. Well, sit tight. Sit tight.
Quick. We're going to get to Alex from Houston. Again, he's talking about USC Texas. Brian is on the line after this that I see, and I see Don in there as well. We had a caller. I think it may have been Doug from Chicago. Yep. I don't know if you lost him right there. I'll tell you this, though. We're going to take these calls and limit them to about a minute and a half each. I went on a monologue earlier. So that's the reason we're cutting things quick right here. But we got a break, hard break at about 12:02, and then Barbara Teague joins the show with her husband. Talk to us about the game day
Recording
today.
is
So we got
on.
Monday, too. We got a callers back, Armstrong.
We got Alex on the line. Alex, can you hear us? Any signs of life?
Hey.
Alex.
It's Alex, you don't hear me?
Welcome in, baby. Up-tempo. What's going on, man? Happy Natter Day, if you can call it that. National Championship Day.
Nope,
but
can't call it that, but I love
Yes, sir.
Does that work?
Hey, I was calling in. I heard an earlier caller mention the national coverage that they've gotten from Gonzaga and nothing on the Baylor side. And I was just calling in to say,
It reminds me a lot of the 05 USC Texas football game. Great game. I'm hoping for that same kind of game, that same kind of energy. But I feel like we're the underdog in this game. I'm literally looking at an ESPN article saying, is this the best basketball team of all time? They're not talking about our Bears. They're talking about Gonzaga. So I'm hoping we're like the 05 Horns, if I can say that.
I think there's a lot of truth to that.
I love it. I think this is the biggest college basketball national championship that we've seen in at least 15 years. I really do. I think it was a North Carolina game, maybe North Carolina, Illinois in 03. Oh, you're predating me a little bit. That may be the last time we've seen a game of this magnitude, but it is the game it's the game of the century, if we can say that. Is that legal?
It's legal.
How about this, Alex? Let's do some Bear games here for you, JD. You want to rattle those off?
Sure. Leading score, final score, and method of celebration tonight when Baylor becomes the national champions for the first time, and I couldn't even tell you how long.
Leading scorer has got to be Davion. I feel like he's going to bring the energy on defensive side, and that's just going to show up on offense too. I would expect some big alley-oops, though, going from Davion to Big John, so I'm ready to jump out of my seat for that. Final score, in all my brackets, I put 61-58, so I'm going to stay true to that. I'm going to celebrate. Let's see. Probably some champagne. I'm going to order like 50 wings, so I'll probably just keep scarfing down on the wings all night, just nervously watching the game. But sick and Bears, guys.
Right call. Alex, thanks so much for calling in, man. As always, appreciate you and appreciate your contribution to this show. We got Brian calling in from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Brian wants to talk a little bit about, he just says Sam pinched me. I think someone pinched me. Brian, what's going on, man? You're on the air.
Hey, man, yeah. Looking at this game, I feel strangely confident. Watching Gonzaga play, the thing that I think is going to happen is I think they're going to focus on Baylor's three-point at the beginning, and you're going to see some incredible assists from Butler. Because the Gonzaga, it seems like Timmy likes to help out a ton. So kind of like what we saw in that Villanova game with those alley-oops. I think that's going to get them early, and that's going to get Gonzaga off balance. And I think the story of the game is they go inside at the beginning and then open it up from three and just let it go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think more my confidence lies is it's not going to be a so much straight-up matchup. You got to deal with everybody when it comes to Baylor from the offensive standpoint with their switch on ball screens. They do a lot of switching off the ball on offense. So it's going to be a full committee tonight. It's not going to be one guy that Baylor has to deal with or that Gonzaga has to deal with. So I'm excited about
that.
Completely agree.
I don't think that Gonzaga has the athleticism to deal with Baylor's quickness.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, I think the horses of Baylor. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be incredible. And I think you pick your poison.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Butler, and, we've been talking about scores. I think this is going to be a game of balance. I think you're going to see all of the guards score in double digits. Mm-hmm. But I think the story of the game is I think Butler ends up running the show, and I think he ends up with 13, 14 assists.
With you. Love it, Brian. Hey, Brian, I'm gonna give you some Bear games here really quick that we can rattle off because I hate to cut you short. Final score, leading score, and how are you celebrating tonight when Baylor becomes national champions?
Sure, I'm going to say 68-59, and I'm going to say leading score ends up being Teague. I think he gets it going from three. And then I get to be in Waco tonight because I got a tennis tournament in the morning, so I'm going to probably hang out at Crickets.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
Tennis tournament tomorrow. Brian, thanks for your call, man. Great to hear from you. First time call.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Brian, we appreciate you, man. Yeah,
We got
everybody calls
tomorrow. Don on the line here real quick. Don, I got about a minute and a half right here. I know, JD, you're queuing these in, but I tell you what, Don calls this show pretty often and gives us COVID tests. Don, we got to go quick. What you got?
Yeah, a minute and a half. Are you kidding me? On a day like today? Come on, guys. Give me at least 10 minutes. Hey, listen, man, I am so pumped up, and I am convinced. I am totally convinced that Cam is Scott Drew's son, okay? Let's just go ahead and call it out. He knows way too much about basketball.
Yeah, I agree.
Way too much. Very impressive little kid, man. Very impressive. Okay, the one shining moment, guys. Come on, let's think about this. This is a Christian institution, and I love speaking things into existence, right? And that's exactly what they're doing. Let's go ahead and speak the championship into existence. Let it happen, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, okay? I mean, so I'm on board with that. I'm okay with that one shining moment video, definitely. The defense. Let's talk about the defense. I'm hoping and praying that they played the same defense that Houston did when they double teamed Mitchell and left the everyday John open for some easy shots. And Flo, that boy needs to get some sticking on his hands. He has a hard time handling the ball when it's thrown to him. It's frustrating as all heck. I'm hoping that he can grab onto it and slam it home a few times for us. He did, score a few points the other night, but still, I mean, when he gets the ball, it just scares me to death. The late game, what's y'all's opinion? I think Baylor is probably more advanced in playing a late game than Gonzaga is, because this is going to be a late game as far as their intensity level. Waiting all day to start a national championship game, man, it's got to be. The coaches really have to, come up with some good philosophy points to get them through the day just to be ready for the game tonight.
Well, Don, I'll move really, really quickly right here because we've got another caller on the line. I'm going to do Music Monday after this. I think being in Indianapolis right now, they probably woke up a little bit later, maybe sleep in a little bit, and then your mind's right there. You want your guys to stay focused, but also not stressed. You don't want them to think about it constantly and get in their own heads. So I think they're going to do a really good job of balancing out what they do today and how they make this day as just stress-less as possible. That's the thing. I don't know if either team has an advantage because they've both been here for 4 weeks inside the bubble. We'll see how the late game plays, and I don't like it because I don't get a lot of sleep. But, yeah. Don, Bear Game's question real quick. Final score prediction, leading scorer, and how are you going to celebrate if they win this thing?
Okay, final score. I'm just going to be in the 70s just because of the intensity level and both teams trying to struggle. I will tell you, within the first 10 minutes, Gonzaga's coach is going to have to call a timeout because Baylor's just running on them. He's got to get their team grouped back together because of that. The score would be, to me, it's about 75-70 Baylor, and the leading scorer, I'm going to go with the other caller. I think it's time for Matthew Ma to come out and prove himself that he's going to be the go-to guy next year. I think he's going to have an awesome game. I think he's going to be prepared for it. All those guards are going to be prepared for it. I think you're going to have double digits on all the guards in general. So, but I think Meyer is really going to stand out tonight.
You're going to need it.
I love it. Hey, thanks for good to hear from you.
What's that? I'm sorry?
What'd you say, Don?
Thanks for your call, Don.
Always celebration. I'm having hanging out with friends tonight, and I've done it the last few Baylor games, and of course they won, so superstitious, right? Come on. So yeah, then we're gonna have a house party, and watch the game. So
absolutely love it, Don. Thanks so much for your call, man. We appreciate you as always. Have a great one. Enjoy tonight's game.
Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Love it. Hey, we love you. Loving the show, Drake. We got time for some more callers. We got a pretty full queue. I know we got Barbara here at 12:02. I think you said it's 11:58. What's the green light, red light here? We got to take it to a break?
Let's go. Let's hit with Doug really quick from Chicago. Doug from Chicago. And probably going to have to roll to a break. Jason, I see you in there. It's either John or Jason Lippert. We'll snag that. We want to take that call here in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Give us a call back around 12:25 or so. We'll be able to take that then, I think, Jason, maybe about 12:20. Yep. I got Doug right here, though. Doug, hey, what's going on? All the way from Chicago.
17-minute hold time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear, Doug. You sound good.
Doug, first-time caller.
All right. So I am a first-time caller, and I actually gave a shout. So Drake and J.D., I've been watching you guys for the past few months. My daughter goes to school down there. She came home for Easter. She mentions a guy named Drake, and I said, I hear it, and I said, wait, Drake? I listen to the show up-tempo every day. While I'm supposed to be working, but it's usually on my lunch break. But anyways, you guys are great. I just wanted to call and say I love the show. But I'm a huge sports fan, and I've become a huge Baylor fan because my daughter goes to Baylor. Second to the Cubs, Game 7 World Series. Listen, I'm from Chicago, Cubs fan. Second to that day, waiting for that Game 7 in 2016, I got to tell you, I'm about as nervous. Probably a little bit less nervous than that, but So excited for tonight. I think it's going to be great.
Doug, we're out there with you, man. The nerves are at an all-time high. We're so excited that you're listening with us and choosing to let us spend your lunch break with you. We play the Bear games. I'm sure you're no stranger to them. Leading score for tonight, final score prediction, and what you're doing when Baylor wins the national title and your daughter attends the best basketball school in the world. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm jumping on. Everybody's saying Matthew Meyer, but I got to say, Matthew Meyer, listen, just think about this. If that guy started and played 30 minutes, how many points would he score on a night in and night out basis? The guy, 30. I still don't think he realizes how good he is. So I'm going to go with Matthew Meyer with 18. And I think Baylor's going to win this thing in a boat race, 85-75.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I love it. There's Hoodie Mello, there's Untucked Kyrie, and there's Mullet Meyer. Hey, Doug, thanks so much for calling, man. Enjoy tonight's game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
One second here. Doug, you still on the line real quick?
Doug, you're on, baby.
I am still on the line.
Doug, I do want to say thank you for your kind words, and thank you for listening to the show and keeping up with us every day. I know we're a little bit wacky, zany, and out there, but thanks for watching, especially from Chicago. And your daughter doesn't happen to be Florida. Is your daughter Florida?
Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. One state off. Georgia. Okay. Hey, Doug, thanks for calling. I'm glad you get to watch the show.
All right.
Thanks,
Have
Doug.
a good one, guys.
Thanks, Doug. Man, no shortage of All-Stars. How about the shout-out there for you? You sounds like you might know a lot of people's daughters.
In the best way possible.
In the best way possible. I love that. By the way, we're going to take it to a break. We got Barbara T coming on here very, very soon. Appreciate y'all hanging with us. It's a glorious day. Probably the best day in Baylor athletics history. And it's all going to happen tonight as Baylor takes center stage against Gonzaga. This is Up-Tempo.
The national championship game is set, and it's the one we've all been waiting for. The Baylor Bears will face the Gonzaga Bulldogs tonight at 8:20 on CBS for the national championship game. The teams that have been 1-2 all year long finally face off after their earlier meeting in the season was canceled due to COVID. Baylor absolutely stomped number 2 seed Houston 78-59 in the Final Four to reach the championship game. And Gonzaga beat 11 seed UCLA only by 3 points on a last-second buzzer beater in overtime from Jalen Suggs. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Diner guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No capes.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
And welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den remote. Drake Toll coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana today, where the Baylor Bears square off against the Gonzaga Bulldogs in the national championship game. The biggest game in the country happens tonight, and it features your Baylor Bears, #2 in the nation in the AP poll, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, #1 in the country. And on the show now, I would almost venture to say it's better than having a player. It's those that made that player and made him as good as he is. That's Sean and Barbara Teague. You guys, thanks so much for coming on, and from the same city in which I currently sit.
Awesome. We're glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Absolutely. Well, Sean, we'll start with you because we had Miss Barbara on last time. Sean, I want to know the excitement level, not just for the national championship, but to be in Indianapolis and watch Maceo Teague play basketball.
Well, I was going to say it's undescribable, right? Mm-hmm. This is what everyone dreams of for their child. Kids dream about it. I mean, we've dreamt about it as kids, playing basketball, being on this big stage, right? In this moment, we've dreamed about it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, countdowns, all that good stuff. And for Maceo to be here live and in person and getting the opportunity, and not only this being a national stage, but his first NCAA tournament, incredible. How could you write a better story?
Wow. And Miss Barbara, we asked you kind of the same thing when you're on the show here. It was the Hartford game. It was round 1 of the NCAA tournament. And here Baylor is still alive. For you, what have you heard from Maceo? How much communication have you guys had over the course of the last couple of weeks?
We've had a little bit of communication. I know this is a big moment for him. So we kind of honestly give him his time and his space, just because we know how serious this is for him. As Sean has stated, he's been locked in for so many years and dreamed about this. And this is his first NCAA, tournament. So, he's just truly focused. But the conversation is mainly do what you've been doing since you were a child. You just gotten better at it. Just walk in it and just go out and do the best you can do.
Wow. I'll kind of go back and forth between you guys for this one. You talked about it's Maceo's first NCAA tournament. And on the flip side of that, it's the Teague family's first NCAA tournament. You two guys getting to go watch Maceo in Indianapolis. And obviously the players all have that kind of cocky nerves, the good nerves they talk about. Sometimes parents and fans don't have the good nerves. They have the, oh my goodness, what's going on nerves. What has that been like, the nerves for both of you?
Right. I think we probably come from two different places in terms of the nerves. For me, it's kind of like, hey, you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not suiting up tonight. So I know Maceo has had ample time in preparing for this big moment. And it's just that preparation meeting the opportunity. And he's going to go out and do his best, like Barbara said. And, we want him to do his best and have fun, because that's what it's all about. We want to see that smile that everybody's text us and called us about. We want to see that tonight. Absolutely. And we think he'll have fun doing it.
Absolutely. As far as myself, the nerves won't start until about 7:00, because I'm keeping myself busy up until then. But for the most part, I wake up in the middle of the night every now and then, and how I handle that is I whisper a prayer for the team. And but other than that, it's like, as Sean said, it's going to be what it's going to be. You just pray that everything that each and every one of them have put into this, that they go out there and it manifests on the court tonight.
Miss Barbara, I want to take you here first. It was the Arkansas game. Arkansas had pulled within 4 in that one, and Maceo drains a huge three-pointer. I want to take you to a little bit later in that game. Arkansas pulls within 4, and Maceo drains a huge three-pointer. Moments like that, as a parent, walk the folks at home through what's going through your mind when Maceo hits that kind of shot.
I knew it was coming. I know every avenue. I know every angle when he's on the court, just because I know him, just because we've been in the gym so much. I knew that shot was coming. And when he hit it, I just do the fist pump. Like I know him. You know what I'm saying? I know what he's feeling. I know, what he wants to do and what he's capable of. But I knew it was coming. And it's not an arrogant statement. I just know that's how dialed in he is. And when given that opportunity, those are the things that transpire.
It's kind of the same question for you, Sean. One of the moments that I really remember from the Houston game from Maceo, who had an unbelievable second half, exploded in the second half. It was a shot that goes off the rim, offensive rebound for Baylor. They kind of toss it back up, and Maceo floats in the air, lays it up and in to stop a long Houston run. It felt like that play was where Baylor regained their momentum and took the game over. Again, it started with Maceo. Plays like that in a Final Four game, Sean, from your perspective, what goes through your mind?
I was going to say, it's just a proud moment for us, because when you see that and that ball goes through the net, I mean, obviously you grasp for your breath, right? You take a deep breath and you're like, yes, it goes in. So, I mean, it's just proud for us. I mean, Maceo has hit timely shots after timely shots. So, like Barbara mentioned, we both kind of are on that same page with him. When it goes up, we're like, oh, yeah, that's going in. And it goes in. So it's a great feeling. I mean, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Wow. I was doing some quick math here, crunching numbers, and this is one for both of you guys. In the end, at the end, all said and done with this season, there will be 18,700, and I'm going to say 75, 18,775. Tough number to comprehend. That's the amount of basketball players that won't see a national championship this year. Whereas on the flip side of that, from Division III to Division I, about 80 guys are going to get to play on that stage compared to 18,775. You two getting to be parents of one of the few select athletes that will see this stage. Is there some kind of bottled up emotion that's just hard to really fathom?
Yeah, go ahead. You want to jump?
Well, yes. The bottle top is off now. So I woke up this morning the first time where the tears flowed. because I'm past the surreal moment. It is just, it's raw emotion at this point. Again, we have been by Maceo for a very long time. And to see all of everything just happening in God's timing and trusting the process, the feelings are real. I mean, it's the tears are real, and it's just a moment. And I don't know what's a better word for proud. I mean, it's just, I don't want to say my heart is so big, it's so enlarged right now, just because I'm just so happy, not just for Maceo, I'm happy for the Baylor family. It's been a journey for them to wait year after year to get to this point. But, it takes more than just Maceo. We're just totally ecstatic about Coach Drew and how he's brought, the team and everything to this point. So that's where I am with it.
Yeah. Proud moment, definitely.
Absolutely. I'm going to take you, and this is one of my last questions, but you talked about the emotions of what this tournament has been. And I remember asking you, Miss Barbara, in the first game, and this is a question for both of you. I remember asking you, Miss Barbara, in that first game, this could be the last one, and what that feeling was like. And now the script flips. We'll start with you, Miss Barbara. This is the last one. It's the last time, most likely, that Maceo will hit a three-pointer, dress out, make a layup, go out in the starting lineup as a Baylor Bear. Knowing that you have control over the last time that he gets to do that. It's the last time. Are you any more prepared now than you would have been a month ago for this, the last time he'll be a Baylor Bear?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Because, every day could have been the last time. Every game that they played could have been the last time. So, we can't plan the moment. Again, we just pray that they go out there and dress up, not only in the attire, but their mental aspect of things, and finish it with a win. But you never can be prepared. I can't even be prepared for the win. You know what I'm saying? Just for the simple fact that even both ends of I can't be even upset, even if they don't win. Just for they're here, and I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I'll piggyback on what Barbara said. That's the same thing here, right? It's a very proud moment, even though it's the last game. For me, I'm a little bit more prepared for it because I know now that he went out on top, right? Yeah. He's done all that hard work. Couldn't happen to a better kid. Not just saying that because that's our child, but we know the work ethic Maceo has. We know his journey. We know the good times and the bad times, and he's having a great moment, a great run. Yeah. And for him to go out on this stage, win or lose, we're going to be proud of him no matter what. We're going to be proud of the Baylor kids no matter what in the Baylor family, because they've made it against all odds. All we've heard about is how they're not as good as everybody says and things of that nature, but they're here and the moment's now. So it's awesome.
Wow. For both of you guys, you got Baylor in the national championship tonight. And I know the emotions, we talked about everything that's flowing right now. I mean, I know game day ritual. What do you guys have planned throughout the rest of the day today? Kind of put folks in your shoes as you get ready for the big one.
Well, I have been texting most of the morning. We have a few more people coming into town, purchase some tickets, and they're coming in. So they'll be here because they have to pick up the tickets at a certain time. So I guess the hospitality room suite will be our room. So we're just going to go out and buy some refreshments for everyone because it's a blessing that they're even coming. This is it, the national championship. And let's put it out there. Tickets aren't cheap. So I'm just totally thankful and that they're even coming. They could have easily stayed at home, and they're here to celebrate with us.
Yeah. Well, I definitely don't want to get on a soapbox, but this is where I do get on my soapbox is the fact that Baylor hasn't been here in 71 years, and I just mentioned the 18,700 athletes that this year alone will not do what Baylor has the opportunity to do tonight across 3 divisions, and to know that we get to enjoy that. The Baylor fans, for us that are here too, get to enjoy that in person is a story that you'll tell for the rest of time. And I know that Maceo and his teammates will as well. I'll start with you, Sean, with this one though. And a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but a couple people out there have thrown around the adage that it is win a championship or the season's a bust. See, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Sean, what are your thoughts when you hear somebody say that?
I'm with you. I don't agree with that either. I think the kids worked hard. They're playing for something, and to make it to this stage, it means a lot. You know, they're going to go down in history no matter what, right? They're going to be known. That crew at Baylor is going to be known forever. And I think, you know, we don't want to put any pressure on them. We want them to win, but we want them to go out and have fun. And we know if they go out and have fun and execute the way that we know they can, they're going to win in the season. The season will be a success no matter what. So I don't agree with that.
Miss Barbara, it's not win or bust, is it?
No, definitely not. But I'll leave it at this. If we listen to all of the negativity about our team, we would be part of the problem. Yeah. So whatever they say, we tune it out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even have a comment for that because we're here.
That's right.
I love that. We're here for the first time. I mean, the first time in modern history, we're here. There is no loss in a loss. There's so much to be proud about and thankful for with this Baylor team. And I know both you guys understand that. Thinking about the fans too. This is one of the things now that we're a couple weeks in, Miss Barbara, I couldn't ask you then, but I can now. You've been here 3 weeks. I'm sure you've run into plenty of Baylor fans that have stopped you, said hello, recognized you. You too, I'm sure, Sean. Tell me, what has it been like to run into some Baylor folks in the middle of a big city up north?
Oh, it's awesome. We do the sign, the call, and the SicEm, and it's great. Everybody is just so energetic. We have even more people coming in today. I'm out on Twitter a lot in the last 3 weeks, and it's just the energy is just off the charts right now. And down in the lobby and people are just SicEm and having fun, taking pictures, especially when they find out who your son is, because we don't have our names plastered on our, and it's just a good mood. It's just a fun mood.
Yeah. Wow. Great crowd. Crowd. We love it.
Yeah, and Sean, a little bit of that for you too. And you know, I know Maceo being a transfer and coming here, maybe you guys don't have those Baylor roots that run deep, but have you just felt that family atmosphere that Baylor brings?
Yeah, I was going to say that's the main reason Maceo decided to come to Baylor, was that family atmosphere. You know, so we felt it the whole time he's been here. We continue to feel it. And I'm sure it'll go beyond his playing days as well. I mean, it's just that type of relationship that he's built with the players and the staff and you know, the fans, I mean, all across the country. So, you know, SicEm forever, I guess. Absolutely. Right? SicEm for life.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, I want to end right here before we go into our Bear Games questions of the day. Miss Barbara, I'll start with you, but I got to hit both you with this, and it's kind of where I started. Baylor comes into the game, 29 games they played across this year, 27-2 against Gonzaga, who's 31-0. The eyes of the country are on Indianapolis tonight. The eyes of the country are on the Baylor Bears in the national championship game. It doesn't get any bigger than this. How can you even describe what is going on right now?
Well, we were at the game the other night, and I'll say this. I saw Gonzaga bend. So I'll leave my comment with Baylor will be the national champion.
Wow. I can't even – how do you follow up with that? I mean, that's it. You dropped the mic on that. I mean, there you go.
Wow. Well, I'll ask you guys this question. It's our Bear Games question of the day, and I'm sure you're a little bit partial, and I hope you are. And that's, who is Baylor's leading scorer going to be tonight?
Well, you know what? That's funny. I will say it's going to just depend on the flow of the game. I hope they all do well, and they play unselfish, so you really can't say. You know, they're just going to hit the open man. I will say the leading scorer tonight will be the man that's open the most. There you go. Because the boys are going to find who's ever open, right? And that's it. So if you guys want to place your bets on who it might be, we're open to it, but we're going to say the one that's open the most.
Miss Barbara?
I'm not touching that one.
Oh, that makes sense. You can't jinx anything. You can't jinx anything going into tonight.
Can't do it. I don't want anybody to know. I can't do it. That's too much pressure.
No kidding. Well, I'm sure it's going to be great. Our Bear Games question of the day, I'll end this. It's lighthearted, too. I mean, say that Baylor does win the national championship. How are you guys going to celebrate? What's that going to mean?
I just want to see Maceo. I just want to be able to hug my son, just to tell him the celebration, and of course, I say that because I believe wholeheartedly that Baylor's going to win. But if whatever the outcome may be, I just want to give my son a hug and let him know how proud I am. Then after that, whatever happens, it happens. We'll probably have some celebratory later on. We'll have some family over later on this week. But tonight, it's hoping and praying that we'll be able to see Maceo and the rest of the team and just be able to celebrate a bit.
That's it. Yep. That's it. And give all the guys a hug.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've had a great year, and it's been tough to navigate through this COVID environment. So we're just proud of them again. So
I'll tell you this: I'll just hug Maceo. They'll never say I gave him.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, Miss Barbara, thank you guys so much for coming on the show today, giving us your thoughts. That was unbelievable. We always love hearing from the parents of the players, and you two guys are about as fine as they come.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I love it. Again, yeah, SicEm Bears too. Again, that was the team.
Celebrate with Baylor all the way. We got a caller on here. We got Jason calling again. Hey, Jason, I see, I don't know, Armstrong, if you've got control of the call line over on your end. Tell you what, though, if you do, I got you pull up my phone right here, my Bluetooth. Armstrong, if you've got control over the call line, let me know.
I do, yeah. I do. I'm not getting video of you, by the way. But we do have callers.
Oh, I did close out my Zoom call, didn't I? That was like the one way that you're communicating with me video-wise. Let's get Jason.
We got an empty shot of the studio, though. We're good. We got Jason on.
Nice. Jason, hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I was just calling to just talk about, what this championship appearance means, not only to obviously the school and the program, but guys that have been around as fans that have been invested in Baylor basketball for decades and decades. My dad graduated from Baylor in 1977, and his uncle, Odell Preston, was actually a member of the 1948 national runner-up team, and I believe he was on the 1950 team as well. And so watching guys like my dad and his emotions unfold throughout the entire tournament run has been just absolutely incredible. He's watched guys like Vinnie Johnson, Terry Teagle, Brian Skinner, David Wesley come through Waco, and now to see that these guys with this team to reach the mountaintop and play for a national championship is just nothing short of insane. It's incredible, especially with everything that we've seen this team have to overcome this year and last year with COVID protocols and really just making sure that they don't beat themselves up on the journey. But for tonight, I am really excited to see Mitchell on Suggs, Teague probably on Kisper, and then throw JTT and Thamba on Timmy if you can. I think Chama Chacha will probably be the X factor for us defensively, seeing how his energy can affect Timmy down low, maybe on, help side defense with Vital, because Timmy's going to get his touches, and there's not too much you can do to affect that. So throw what you can at him and then lock down everywhere else. That's what I'm excited for the most to watch tonight.
I love it. Hey, Jason, we'll hit you with the Bear games real quick, and I'm sorry we didn't have a lot of time for the call right here. We got Coach Mark Moorfield, former Baylor assistant, coming up real quick on the other side of this break. But final score prediction, leading score, and give me your way you're going to celebrate if they win it.
Yes, sir. Final score, I got 77-73 Baylor. I think we get a crucial stop at the end of the game to clinch it. I think both Butler and Meyer will have about 16 points tonight. I like Meyer's energy off the bench, and I think Butler will rise up just like he did this past game in the first half. And my celebration, I'm going to be with my roommates. I'll celebrate with them, but I'm also going to give my dad a call and just soak it all in with him.
I love it. I love it. And the story, your dad, your uncle, both, and being so close to the program, so close to glory, they got a shot at it again. Jason, thanks so much for calling us today.
Thanks, guys.
Great. All right, on the other side of this break, how about it, folks? We've got Mark Moorfield, former Baylor assistant coach, coming up next. This is Up Tempo.
The national championship game is set, and it's the one we've all been waiting for. The Baylor Bears will face the Gonzaga Bulldogs tonight at 8:20 on CBS for the national championship game. The teams that have been 1-2 all year long finally face off after their earlier meeting in the season was canceled due to COVID. Baylor absolutely stomped number 2 seed Houston 78-59 in the Final Four to reach the championship game. And Gonzaga beat 11 seed UCLA only by 3 points on a last-second buzzer beater in overtime from Jalen Suggs. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up-Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Arm.
Twitter just yesterday that Baylor posted of Scott Drew's introductory press conference saying, hey, we're going to make it. We're going to go to the Final Four. We're going to do it. And one of the guys that was a part of that history, right in the middle of it, Coach Mark Moorfield, who's now the women's basketball coach at Mary Hardin Baylor. Coach Moorfield joins the show today as one of Scott Drew's first assistants that hung around for a long time, about a decade in the program. Coach Moorfield, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And here's where I want to start, Coach, because history and what Baylor's doing this year, if you don't have context, it just doesn't mean as much. I want to take you back to that first season where you're at Baylor. Coming off of the scandal, we just talked about it. That team wins 3 games in conference play when some thought they wouldn't win a single game, period. What do you remember about Scott Drew that first season and Baylor's 3-win Big 12 season?
Well, the funny thing about it is kind of like what we were talking about before, winning those 3 games, and especially what left the program, because Baylor did have some talented players that were coming back, but because of the scandal and the situation, they transferred out. And so what was remaining and what Scott's vision was winning 3 games, and what was just a tremendous effort, especially getting those guys to buy in. But, winning 3 games would be the equivalent of winning 20 games with that first year. If you take it where, talented team per talented team, and that would be the equivalent. And I think the next thing is though they always came in and they competed. They played hard for 40 minutes. It wasn't like if the game got away from us in the first 10 minutes, it's not like they just laid down. They competed for 40 minutes. And I think those are 2 crucial pieces. Those guys win in 3 games, which is, again, if you equate it to a normal season and a talented team, I would equate that to 20, 21, 22 plus wins. And just 40 minutes of playing hard. And, when Scott took this job, and he and I both were at Valparaiso University together, I think the biggest thing is, truth be told, he saw a vision here to be like the Duke of the Southwest. He really wanted to build it in that mold, private university, high academics, but also in a state where recruiting and basketball and the level of players was growing at a rapid rate. And so he saw it as an opportunity to really build a program from ground up. And not even ground up. I mean, you're talking about a program that just was at ground zero, and being able to build it the way he wanted to. And very few times do you have an opportunity to do something like that on the Power 5 level.
Coach, I want to take you back to that time, too, when Scott Drew comes to you after 1 season at Valparaiso, you as an assistant under Homer and Scott, and says, Mark, we're moving to Texas. We're going to Baylor, to a program that was at the bottom, the very bottom, as low as you can get in college basketball following the scandal. And Scott says that to you. You followed him. Why?
Well, here's the great thing. One, let me give you a little backstory. So we're at Valpo, and obviously we made that into a mid-major powerhouse. And we were in Las Vegas recruiting. That's where they have all the big AAU tournaments in the summer and everything. And he and I had a break, went back to the hotel, got something to eat before we went to our night schedule games. Obviously this is hitting the news. It's towards the end of July. And so all this stuff is hitting the news. And I remember he and I talking about, man, we feel bad for that program, those people, not knowing that a month later we would be in Waco, Texas. And so, I always, I felt Scott was always going to have a chance to, especially coming from Big Ten country, getting a Big Ten job at the rate that what we were doing at Valpo, the consistency of winning and things of that nature. Now back to your question, I don't think I had a choice. I'm pretty sure Scott said there was no job left at Valpo for me, so I didn't have a choice to pick. I was told, hey, this is what we're doing. You're getting on a plane, and here's where we're going. So I didn't really have if I remember it correctly, I don't think I really had a choice of either staying at Valpo or going to Baylor. I basically was kind of just said, hey, there's no job here for you at Valpo. You're coming with me to Baylor. So, I felt I was probably about 26, 27. I just finished my 5th year as an assistant at Valparaiso University, where I graduated from. And I think the biggest thing is I trusted Scott. Scott and I have a relationship that we're brothers. And I was a freshman in college when he was just entering his 2nd year as an assistant coach. And so if Scott felt that it was the right situation and the right move for me, I knew Scott had my best interest at heart. And so if that's what he said we need to do, that's what we needed to do. It was an opportunity, and I just trusted Scott that, he knew what he was doing and the situation and where he wanted to go with the program, and just trusted him and followed him.
Wow. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's the old adage. The Baylor basketball program wasn't built in a day. It's now been almost 2 decades since Scott Drew came to Waco and has the program where it is today. I want to know, even before this, and I know I'm going back, but just that history that you guys were able to build here that builds up to Baylor and the national title. I want to take you to 2010. You walk into the arena, you're in the Elite Eight, you look up, you got the March Madness logo, you look down, the March Madness logo on the court. Baylor, 7 years earlier, 3 wins in conference play to the Elite Eight. What were those emotions? Do you recall the emotions that were going through you at that time?
I think what you have is it's rewarding because all the hard work is paying off, and you're seeing the hard work paying off, and you know that you're doing the right things and you're on the right course, and that the plan that's been put in place, whether it's recruiting, whether it's how the program was going to be ran, it's all staying consistent, and you're starting to see that pay off. And you're starting to see the program elevate from where it was to, I would even say below the bottom of the Big 12, and now elevating up to one of the upper half teams in the Big 12, and now competing. And that's the great thing is, if you look, there's been opportunities. I mean, like you were talking about with 2010. Then a couple of years later, you have the opportunity against Kentucky and so forth. And if you look at that, there's been those opportunities to go and compete. And I know against Duke in 2010, we were right in the thick of things. And, having an opportunity to go to Indianapolis, which is the irony of it all, that first year of going to, advancing to the Final Four. And obviously a couple offensive rebounds didn't go our way and things of that nature. But you see that from where, the NCAA goes and says you're only playing the Big 12 conference schedule. You're going to that first team. And you're seeing in that short period of time, not only have you competed in an NCAA tournament against Purdue, not only have you been a participant in winning being an NIT championship game, and now here you are, and you're in the Elite Eight, and you're hanging with a team that obviously went on and eventually won the national championship. And so to see that, you start to see the kind of fruits of your labor starting to work, and knowing that what you're doing, the direction you're going in, and how you're growing the program, that plan works. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you sit there and you take a deep breath and you look around, and obviously it being in Houston and have a very large Baylor following, they're supporting us in Houston. That was the biggest thing is just that opportunity to sit back and say, you know what? We did it the hard way. We did it with hard work, blood, sweat, tears, a dedication from the staff, a dedication from the players to get better. And we've done it the right way. And to see that reward and knowing that's going to propel us for future years, it was obviously very satisfying.
Coach Moorfield, give me 15 brick walls to run through right now, full speed. Like that right there. I'll tell you, and I don't want to get on a soapbox. I mentioned this earlier in the show, but in those losses, I call them quote losses, like the Duke game. You hear that BU chant break out after the game, and the pride that you have in Baylor just following even the toughest losses is still there, and it just means so much. And that's where I want to go with tonight's game. When I started asking people or telling people, hey, Coach Moorfield's joining the show tomorrow, had a lot of folks like, oh wow. I remember him, and he means so much to the program, meant so much to me, for a lot of fans. And so for you, it still feels like there's a piece of you as a part of this team for a lot of folks around here. Do you feel like there's a piece of you in Indianapolis right now with Baylor in the national championship?
No question, and I think it happens just because of the relationship Coach Drew and I have. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, we have a relationship that's 20-plus years, but it goes past being coworkers. Coach Drew kind of was like the big brother that brought me through the business as I started when I graduated in 1998, from college, and then brought me to Baylor and so forth. And even to this day, he and I, if not texting every other day or communicating, we have that relationship. And I do think that. But I think the biggest thing that stands out, too, is, after last year, the season's cut short, and he and I are texting after they had canceled the Division III tournament when we were getting ready to play a Sweet 16 game. They're canceled, and they're obviously going to be, if you go rewind to last year, they're going to be, in the same position somewhat as they are now this year. Number 1 seed, opportunity to make the Final Four, great team. And we were texting back and forth. And I think one of the things that really stood out to him was, Coach Drew's a very passionate man, but I think the thing that stood out, he sat there and said, Mark, a lot of the things that you brought to the program, we still have in the program today. And I think those are the things that just really kind of stand out, because I'm coaching those guys. I didn't recruit any of those guys. My last group of guys that I recruited was Brady Heslop and Pierre Jackson and Corey Jefferson and those guys. And so, my relationship with Coach Drew and John Jacobs, those guys that I've known, Jerome Tang, I want to see it for them, but I also want to see it more for anyone else than Scott, because he had a vision, he had a plan in 2003, and I want to see him reap the rewards. And especially when you have so many naysayers that are out there in the media, well, let me tell you something, you don't win at the level that you win at if you don't know how to coach. And I think we can look at some one and done programs in the country that have a lot of talent, but they're not. We can look just to this year, and they weren't real successful. And I understand we're in a COVID year, and I understand that it's a unique year. But you know what? To get to this point in time that you have and to win consistently, you got to know something about coaching. And so I'm ecstatic for Scott. I feel like there's a piece of me there just because of the relationship I had with Scott. And, he's been kind enough over these last couple of years as we've built our program here at Mary Hardin Baylor that, he'll always kind of throw in, hey, you know what, we still do the same things that you brought to the table here at Baylor, stuff like that. And so he's been very gracious enough to bring those comments up when he doesn't have to bring those comments up, but he's been very gracious. So I do feel like there's a part of me there, but I just want to see it for Scott. I want to see Scott walk away tonight cutting down the nets. And, if anyone's more than deserving, it's him. He's done it the right way, regardless of what, naysayers or people have said and so forth. And, he's built the program the right way, and he's built it for consistency. And that's what he's wanted to do since day one. But the vision has come full circle to what he saw in 2003.
Wow. Coach, I'm double dipping here a little bit with my last question for you. And I saw a picture of you and Coach Tang and Coach Driscoll, Coach Mills. I mean, all you guys on the bench in year number 1 with Scott. It looked like a bunch of 24-year-olds that were just trying to put together a basketball program. Yeah. And now a lot more gray hair for everybody now. A couple of guys have gone bald. But here you are from that moment 18 years ago to now Baylor playing in the national championship. Personally, what does Baylor being in the title game mean to you?
I think it means, again, it means a lot, because I think it's justification of what we came to build and the groundwork and the foundation, and it justifies that the plan that was in place, what Scott had for a vision, what Scott set out to do, that foundation, that plan is now come full circle, and that it worked. But it's also working because it's not just a one and done. This isn't just, if you look at the recruiting class they have next year, you look at the players that will continue to come down the road. And I think that's the thing, is he built a consistent program that's going to be sustainable. And you look at the Elite Eights, the Sweet 16s, the NIT championship games. You look at winning the Big 12. And that's the thing. Everyone thinks that winning's easy, and winning's not easy, especially in that level when you're talking about one of the best basketball conferences in the country in the Big 12. And to do it consistently against the Kansases and the Texases, and now taking it to a national level, the Kentuckys, the Dukes, the North Carolinas. And so it means a lot, because it justifies what he did, what his vision was, what we believed in, and again, doing it the way. But more importantly, he cares about each and one of those guys on that bench tonight. And he cares about them not only from as basketball players, but also from a spiritual standpoint and where their life is going to go. And it goes beyond basketball for him. And that's the thing, is he's done it the right way. I think it means a lot for the program. I think it means a lot to just, show where the program's gotten. But win or lose tonight, the program's not going to lose sustainability. The program's not going to go away. He has built that program to sustain success for years to come. But personally, for me, from he and I and the relationship we have, I want to see him win it again, just to kind of validate. And he doesn't need validation who he is as a coach, but just to kind of really just say, you know what? For all you naysayers that were out there, whether it was in 2003, whether it's a couple years ago, or whether this, you know what? Here we are, took a program, probably the worst college basketball rebuild job story in the history of college basketball, and here we are. We took it. We're in this position, and we're not going away. And you have to respect that. And I think that's what it means to win tonight. But again, win or lose, I think either one is going to validate exactly what he set out to do.
Boom. Scott Drew can coach. If you are a part of the Scott Drew can't coach crowd, take that. Put it.
Let me tell you this. You know, you talk about that picture. There's 3 coaches on. Well, there's four head coaches currently in that picture. 3 of them go to a Sweet 16. Grant McCaslin's done a great job in North Texas. Those things just don't happen. You don't know how to coach. And so, you know, I think it's one of those things that's very not talked about enough. You know, everyone wants to talk about this tree, that tree. But if you look at that, every one of those coaches that sit on that bench and add Grant McCaslin have been to an NCAA tournament. So that not coaching stuff, that's just people that can't deal with it.
Yep. I love it. I love the analysis, and I love having you on, Coach Moorfield. We had a Bear Games question of the day today. We do it at the end of every caller and guest, just our little quirky questions to keep away from the sports world. I'm going to save you from today's because it's a final score prediction, because I know coaches and analysts both. I don't like giving final score predictions. I just want the game to be played. So I'll save you from that. I want to know leading scorer for Baylor, and if they win, how are you going to celebrate?
I'm going to say it's going to be Davion Mitchell will be the leading scorer, and I will probably be at one of my friend's house, and I will probably sit there, text Scott afterwards, and just be extremely happy and obviously ecstatic for what he's done and so forth like that, and then just be fired up for him and take him to dinner when he gets back in town.
I love it. Coach Mark Moorfield, thank you so much for joining the show today and bringing us what you've brought from perspective to the analysis of Scott and his career here. It's unbelievable getting to hear from you today.
No, thank you. And thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. Again, that was Coach Mark Moorfield.
The national championship game is set, and it's the one we've all been waiting for. The Baylor Bears will face the Gonzaga Bulldogs tonight at 8:20 on CBS for the national championship game. The teams that have been 1-2 all year long finally face off after their earlier meeting in the season was canceled due to COVID. Baylor absolutely stomped number 2 seed Houston 78-59 in the Final Four to reach the championship game. And Gonzaga beat 11 seed UCLA only by 3 points on a last-second buzzer beater in overtime from Jalen Suggs. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
All right, welcome back in the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den remote, coming to you live from Indianapolis today on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo 11 to 2. You can watch on YouTube right now. You can watch through the SicEm365 app. Roku, Mom, we're on Roku. Find the best way to listen. Download the SicEm365 app and subscribe. So today we got Stephen Carr joining us. Stephen of the Slipper Still Fits, talking Gonzaga basketball. He covers the Bulldogs about as close as you can get. Stephen, you've covered them all season this season. I want to start here, 30,000-foot view. Tell me about Gonzaga.
Very open-ended. They are the best offensive team in the country. They are the best passing team in the country. They're the best cutting team in the country. They're the best two-point percentage offense in the history of the sport. And tonight's matchup is going to be the best two-point offense against the best three-point offense, and we'll see which battle of strength ends up winning. But this is probably the best team in terms of cutting, passing, togetherness, willingness to play for each other, unselfishness that Gonzaga has ever had, and they've been just incredible to watch all season long.
You say they chew gum really well. Would you agree with that analysis that they're good at everything?
If they all chew gum together, they're going to do it really well. Anything that they could do together, they do it well.
I love it. Rattling it off. Here's the thing, though, for the folks at home that are, this guy's, we've had guys on the show before that have been called homers, but that's statistically, it can be backed up. You look at, the MIA poll or shot quality, and Gonzaga leads the nation in so many different scoring categories offensively. Where I want to move, though, Stephen, the defensive side of the basketball, that's where I think things can get hairy tonight. Baylor can score so well, and Gonzaga can too. It depends on who's going to show up defensively. What is this Gonzaga team's MO on that side of the ball?
I completely agree that this game is going to be decided by the defensive side of the ball. They switch, the majority of the time, they switch everything 1 through 5, which is very similar to what Baylor does a lot. I think the biggest question in this game is going to be Drew Timme on the defensive end, not so much on the offensive end, because I think everybody knows that he's going to put up his 20 points, 25 points on offense. But defensively, if they're going to switch 1 through 5, if Gonzaga is going to switch 1 through 5, that leaves Timme on an island with Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, Maceo T, Adam Flagler, Matthew Meyer. Like any of those guys could be one-on-one with Timme. And Timme throughout this tournament has been kind of up and down defending one-on-one. So he was great against USC, just absolutely phenomenal. He wasn't as good against Oklahoma. He was fine against Creighton, and then he was fine against UCLA for the most part. So I really think it depends on which Drew Timme shows up defensively. If he can stay out of foul trouble, if he can keep guys in front of him, if he can prevent a bunch of pull-up threes, because Baylor is just unbelievable when it comes to just chucking threes. Mitchell and Butler are just unbelievable pull-up shooters. So I think the defensive end of the ball for Gonzaga with Drew Timme and how they defend ball screens, if they're going to switch them, is going to be one of the biggest determining factors in this game.
Without a doubt. I think one of the things that some analysts have really just taken a head dive into it, and I have too, it's Gonzaga's ability to screen and the ball handler's ability to play off of the screen. How much does that play into this team's success?
It is their whole offense. It is screening and then getting into the next action if that is not there. Their ball handlers, Jalen Suggs and Andrew Nembhard, particularly, are just unbelievable at reading what they call they call it reading the tagger. So whoever tags the roller in ball screens, assuming they're not switching, that kind of determines who they pass to or how they attack the basket. So if the weak side is the one that's tagging the roller, then they'll skip it across. If nobody's tagging the roller, obviously they can get it to Drew Timme or Anton Watson, whoever's setting that screen. And then Andrew Nembhard and Jalen Suggs, especially Suggs, have this explosive first step. Andrew Nembhard has an incredible mid-range game that's very reminiscent of what you'd see out of Mitchell and Butler and Teague. There's some really, really good pull-up mid-range shooters in this game, which anybody who watched like 90s basketball is going to just love. But yeah, the ball screens are 95% of what their offense is. And Drew Timme is obviously excellent in ball screens, but they don't really, I think people see Drew Timme get 25 points. If they don't watch Gonzaga, they're like, oh, they probably just force feed him the ball one-on-one in the post. And it's not necessarily what they do. They're not, this isn't like last year with Filip Petrusev where they will run sets just to get him isolated and force feed him the basketball. A lot of what they do with Timme on the interior is based off of ball screens and getting him deep post position off of that. So pretty much everything they do is based off of ball screens, and they excelled at it all season long.
Wow. I know that's going to be a big emphasis for Baylor tonight, and Baylor's big men, when they do switch, being able to guard a guy like Suggs or Nembhard on the outside is going to be key for the Bears to stop Gonzaga's offense. I want to know, and this, it kind of puts you on a spot here, when it comes to Nembhard and Suggs, does it usually go that the opposing team will put their best defender on Nembhard, the facilitator, or Suggs, the scorer?
It's either Suggs or Kispert. Typically, they don't throw their best defender on Nembhard because Nembhard isn't necessarily looking to attack the rim. And I think most teams would prefer to put their best defender on the two players that attack the rim more than anybody else, which is Suggs and Kispert. I think the biggest question is who they're going to put on Corey Kispert to start the game. If it's Mark Vidal, it's hard to see Mark Vidal running around the perimeter against Corey Kispert for very long. I think Baylor is probably going to have to go with 4 guards and then either Vital, Chama or Flo Thamba at the 5 and play a lot of 4-guard lineups if they're going to match up with Gonzaga. I think there's so many different things in this game. It's going to be a chess match on both sides, and it's just going to be really, really, really fun.
The 5-0 tonight. Mark Vital at the 5 with 4 guards out there. And when Vital gets in foul trouble, obviously, which has been kind of just March Madness, has been Vital fouling out after fouling out. So going to have somebody off the bench that comes up. And speaking of the bench, Baylor goes, I don't want to say I will. I'll say 4 guys deep off the bench that they feel confident in having out there, 3 of which are going to be first-team All-Big 12 caliber players next season. When you think about depth between these 2 teams, I have said all year long, Gonzaga has the best starting 5 in the country. Baylor has the deepest team in the country. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I talked about this yesterday, too, on my podcast, Locked On Zags, and the depth thing is interesting. Baylor, I think, pretty much this entire tournament, once they've gotten down the stretch, they play 8 guys. Gonzaga plays 7 guys. And each team has 5 players who can score 20 points on any given night, right? Baylor's got their big 3, and then Flagler can go for 20, and Matthew Meyer can go for 20 on any given night. And then Gonzaga, their entire starting 5, can go for 20 on any given night. Baylor's got 1 extra guy off the bench, essentially. They've got basically 3 bigs, and Gonzaga's got 2 bigs. And then they're guys that don't score 20 points are more like defensive and rebounding specialists, like kind of glue guy type guys. So I agree with what you said. I think Baylor is 1 player deeper, and Gonzaga's got the better starting 5. In a game like this, I don't necessarily think depth is going to come into play too much. And especially in the NCAA tournament, the only time it comes into play is if there's a lot of foul trouble, because these TV timeouts are a minute longer. There's an extra one in the first half. There's so much time for these players to rest. I mean, the Gonzaga-UCLA game, there's multiple guys that played 40-plus minutes on both sides of the ball. I mean, obviously, they're probably exhausted by the end of it, but I really don't think depth is going to be a huge problem one way or the other unless there's foul trouble.
You talked about that UCLA game, Gonzaga and UCLA. You know, somebody had mentioned to me, one of the analysts had mentioned to me before that game, they said, listen, I really want Gonzaga to blow out UCLA and maybe overlook Baylor. Instead, they got the wake-up call that, hey, we're not indestructible necessarily, as UCLA came so close to winning that game. Was that a wake-up call, you think? Does that almost give Gonzaga momentum coming into the Baylor game, the fact that UCLA played them so tight?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because coming into the semifinals, everybody was like, I don't know if anybody's going to beat Gonzaga. And then like the opposite happened in the semifinals, where everybody thought Baylor-Houston would probably be a tight game and Gonzaga would blow out UCLA. And now that it's the opposite, everybody's like, you know, I think Baylor might win this thing. And so I think it's fantastic for the sport that was the result that happened, because there's so much more anticipation for this game. But that UCLA game, UCLA played one of the greatest games I've ever seen anybody play in an NCAA tournament game. They didn't miss from mid-range. Like, they were taking contested shots and they were hitting every single one of them. They shot 57%. They had the best mid-range shooting performance in an NCAA tournament game in the last decade. Like, they were that good. I mean, their 6'9" center was stepping out and hitting, 16, 18-foot jumpers, which he hasn't done all season long. So it was just one of those games for UCLA where they couldn't miss, and Gonzaga withstood it all, and they still won. I still think they're the slight favorite in this game, but Baylor absolutely, I've said all season long, the only team that can beat Gonzaga is Baylor. I teetered on a healthy Michigan for a little bit, but I never thought that they would be able to beat Gonzaga. I thought they matched up fairly well. But I think Baylor is the one team that can beat Gonzaga given their A game.
Without a doubt. Now, I know tonight's matchup is everybody's talking about it. The nation's eyes are on Indianapolis, on 2 teams that have never won a title before, and that's kind of where I want to go with you here. Stephen, Baylor fans are feeling the elation of not being able to sleep last night, not being able to eat today. I mean, you're queasy and nervous going into this game because it is bar none the biggest game in sports history when it comes to Baylor athletics. Can the same be said about Gonzaga athletics, that the fans are kind of on edge today because it's the biggest game they've ever seen?
Absolutely. Both of these schools are going for their first national championship. When Gonzaga was in the title game in 2017, it was one of those things where like, this is incredible for the program. It's unbelievable that we're here. They were not favored to beat North Carolina. That game was truly a coin flip going into it. I thought North Carolina would win that game. Gonzaga honestly probably should have won, but they didn't. But this game is like, Gonzaga's the favorite. They're trying to make history. They're trying to be undefeated. It's the first undefeated team to be in a national championship game since Larry Bird's team in '79 when they lost to Magic Johnson. So there's just so much history on the line. It sucks that this game is so late. It's a 9:20 Eastern tip. I wish it was earlier in the day because it just gives us all so much more time to just sit around twiddling our thumbs, waiting for this thing to start. But when it happens, I hope we get an absolute classic because these have been the two best teams, not just this year, but last year too. Like you throw Kansas in last season, but overall the last two seasons, these two teams have only lost 8 combined games. Like that's ridiculous. And they've only lost 2 combined games this season. So this is the matchup that we've wanted for basically 18 months. These two teams have been on a collision course, and I hope we get an all-time classic tonight.
Oh, you're telling me about the late game, man. I'm boarding a flight at 6 a.m. tomorrow, local time. I mean, that's like 4 hours after we get out of the arena. But moving from really that to this Gonzaga team, you look at the UCLA win, the tight UCLA win. You look at the tight West Virginia win, the way they played Kansas. Is it safe to say that Gonzaga just has that extra edge where they refuse to lose even?
Yeah, I mean, I think that UCLA game showed a lot, and the BYU game was kind of the same thing in the WCC championship. I mean, I know teams say they haven't been tested. They've been tested in ways in the WCC in terms of like style. Like they faced a ton of different size, a ton of different length. It's just those players aren't as talented as the players that you would get with size and length in the power conferences. But that WCC championship game was very, very similar to the UCLA game in the Final Four, in which those two teams just shot lights out. Like they did not miss. And Gonzaga had to take those punches, but they also had to keep scoring themselves offensively. And they did. They scored 41 at halftime of the BYU game. And you looked up and it felt like UCLA was playing their tails off defensively in the Final Four. And you looked up, Gonzaga shot 71% inside the arc in that game. Like it was harder than normal for them, but they still scored at will. So the question is, how in the world can Baylor slow them down tonight to hold them to, say mid-70s? Because I think holding Gonzaga to the mid-70s in regulation is quite the task. But if the Baylor does it, then they've got a chance to win this thing.
Oh, wow. I like that. And that's where I was going too. If Baylor's going to win tonight, what do they got to do?
I think they've got to hold Gonzaga to mid-70s. 75, I think, is the number. And I think Baylor can get to, 75, 80 points. But if that happens, they're going to have to hit double-digit threes. And they're going to have to stop Gonzaga in transition. That's number 1, number 2, and number 3 when facing this Gonzaga team, is stopping them in transition. And the interesting thing about Baylor is they're an elite offensive rebounding team, right? They're top 10 in the country in offensive rebounds. But because of that, when they, crash 3 and get 2 back, sometimes they're just a very average defensive transition team if they don't get that rebound. And Gonzaga is top 30 in the country in defensive rebounding. So if Gonzaga is going to get defensive rebounds, they're going to get runouts and they're going to get points. So my question is Baylor going to alter what they do on the offensive rebounding side to kind of limit those transition opportunities back the other way? So I think the rebounding is an absolutely huge part of this game. I think Gonzaga needs to limit turnovers. And I think what I said earlier about Gonzaga defending ball screens and what they do with Drew Timme in that, I think those are the 3 biggest things to watch tonight.
Wow. I love it. I love the analysis. And thanks so much, Stephen, for coming on today. I want to leave you here before our Bear games with first tip, opening tip to final buzzer. How do you see this game going?
I can say what I think is going to happen at the final buzzer. I really do think that this game is going to be close. I don't know if anybody's going to have a double-digit lead the entire night. I hope they don't. I really want this to be a close game. I don't want it to be a blowout one side or the other, despite me obviously rooting for Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga gets out to a fairly quick lead, 6 points. Maybe they go up 12-6, something like that. Baylor's going to hit like 4 straight threes at some point in this game just because that's what they do. And they may take, a 2-point lead going into half or something. But then Baylor has this propensity to just have this 6 or 8 minute cold stretch at some point during the game. And if Gonzaga can take advantage of that one cold stretch and go on a 12-2 run or something like that, I think that's the one advantage that they could have to win this game. I'm going with Gonzaga by 6. I'll go 84-78, but I think this is going to be an absolute classic, and I hope we get it.
I'll tell you this. I when I break this game down, and here I go on a soapbox again. I think you look up 10 minutes are off the board and the score is 16-15. And you think, oh my gosh, is the under going to hit? Like, are you kidding me? Are we only going to score 60 points apiece? And then when it's halftime, it'll be 48-44. And you just think, where did all of these points come from? That's how I feel like tonight might go. I think you're right. Baylor's going to hit that stretch. Baylor's got the red button of doom that they press and go on a 15-3, 15-4 demoralizing run where you think, all right, that did it. Then comes the 4-5 minute stretch where you go, okay, you got to pick it back up right here. And that's where Gonzaga will have the ability to attack tonight with Baylor. I say Baylor maybe on top by 5 or 6 at that point. If Gonzaga can march their way back, they've got a legitimate shot to win it. And they've got a legitimate shot to win it no matter what, just playing their basketball. So I'll leave you with this. You told us your final score prediction. Give me your leading scorer for Baylor. That's our Bear Games question of the day. Who do you like on Baylor?
Wow, that is a great question. I love Donovan Mitchell. Like he is, or Davion Mitchell, sorry. He is Donovan Mitchell.
I love Donovan Mitchell too.
I love Donovan Mitchell too. But I love Davion Mitchell. He's been my favorite player to watch on that team all season. His first step is unbelievable. His defensive ability. I think the Mitchell-Suggs matchup is going to be probably the most fun to watch in this game. A top 5 NBA pick and probably a top, 15 NBA pick going against each other. 2 of the most explosive first steps in the country going one-on-one. And so I will say Davion Mitchell because I love his game. He can shoot, he can drive, he can hit mid-range jumpers. So I'll go Mitchell will be the leading scorer for Baylor.
Lock it in, Davion Mitchell. And then this right here. Gosh, I hate that I have to ask you this, but it's our Bear Games question of the day. We've asked everybody that's called in and every one of our guests, and they've all been Baylor. And that's, if your team wins, how are you going to celebrate?
Well, I have a podcast to do tonight, and I'm going to get – my celebration is listening to other people's celebration. I am bringing on a bunch of people who are just going to just talk and celebrate and say what this means to them. But I'm going to be absolutely elated. I know a bunch of people are going to cry, but I can't wait for this game.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, as much as I've loved everything you brought to this segment, I really hope that you have just a really, I don't want to say dark, but a sadder podcast, a more just mellow kind of style tonight. Hopefully if the Baylor Bears pull it off. But nonetheless, both of these teams, win or lose, there is so much to be won in the fact that these squads are competing for the national championship this season. And Stephen Carr, thanks so much for coming on and bringing your Gonzaga analysis to the show.
You got it. I appreciate it.
Love it. Again, that was Stephen Carr joining things today on Up Tempo. When we come back, Matthew Postins joins us talking Big 12 basketball from Heartland College Sports. This is Up Tempo.
The national championship game is set, and it's the one we've all been waiting for. The Baylor Bears will face the Gonzaga Bulldogs tonight at 8:20 on CBS for the national championship game. The teams that have been 1-2 all year long finally face off after their earlier meeting in the season was canceled due to COVID. Baylor absolutely stomped number 2 seed Houston 78-59 in the Final Four to reach the championship game, and Gonzaga beat 11 seed UCLA only by 3 points on a last-second buzzer beater in overtime from Jalen Suggs. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Remote, live on location in Indianapolis, Indiana. Today it is National Championship Game Day. The only time the Baylor Bears have been able to say that, well, since 1948. Helping us celebrate it, Matthew Postins joins the show from Harlan College Sports. Matthew, it's the day that we've talked about since the first time you joined this show, that it was a possibility that we would get here, and we're here.
Yeah, we are here. And in fact, listening to Mark Few and Scott Drew talk about the lead up to this game, it's funny that it's happening 4 months to the day from when they were supposed to play in December. And after Gonzaga couldn't play when they had their positive test and they went into their 2.5-week COVID pause, Scott Drew said to Mark Few, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could just play this game here on April the 5th? Here we are.
Here we are. Spoken into existence. It's unbelievable that we've made it to this moment. And what's unbelievable to me, Matthew, and I'm sure you can attest, is that it's Baylor. That it's Baylor in a national championship in basketball. If you would have told just about anybody in national media or maybe even locally when seemingly 24-year-old Scott Drew walked into Waco in 2003, baby-faced, full head of hair, and now he's in a national title, most folks wouldn't have put $10 on that.
No, I wouldn't have put $100 on it. I wouldn't have put anything on it. It's and I was around back then. I was covering North Texas and the surrounding high school area with the Denton Record Chronicle at the time he took the job. And his first road game just happened to be at UNT. And it's really interesting to look back on that night. They lost that game to UNT by about 6 or 8 points. And I just remember thinking to myself, he might actually be able to turn this into a respectable program because he's a good coach and he seems to have good players and he seemed to do a really good job on the sideline that night. But I also thought to myself, he'll get them in a respectable place and in a few years he'll move on to something else because that's just what coaches tend to do. The fact that he's been there for 18 years, the fact that, he has now taken them to triple the NCAA tournament appearances of any coach in Baylor history, that they are in the Final Four for the first time since 1950, a national title game for the first time since 1948, and that they could be only the second team from the state of Texas to win a national championship should they win tonight. Texas Western or UTEP won the first one in 1966. It's pretty incredible to have watched what he's done over the past 18 years with that program.
It's unbelievable. I mean, and for myself, someone that's followed Baylor now so closely for just 2 years, to already be in the thick of a national championship, not just conversation, but to be here in Indianapolis for the national championship. Matthew, when you look at the game tonight, I love the tweets that folks are like, man, how foolish were you if you didn't pick Baylor and Gonzaga in the national title game? March doesn't ever go as planned, but now it's going as planned with Baylor and Gonzaga. Everybody wanted this and we got it. What are you looking forward to tonight?
No, you're right. It never goes as planned. I think Scott Drew said during the press conference yesterday, and I went back and checked it, and he was right. First time since 1962 that 2 of the 3 teams that were in the AP Top 25 at the end of the season made it to the championship game. That was Cincinnati and Ohio State. Ohio State was actually the wire-to-wire number 1 that year, and Cincinnati toggled between 2 and 3. And Cincinnati actually ended up winning the national championship that year. They beat Ohio State. So food for thought as we go into tonight. But, when I look at this game right now, Baylor is playing the best basketball it's played since the COVID pause. The fact that Jared Butler shot as well as he shot on Saturday night is a real good harbinger for them. He was 4 of 5 from 3. In the 7 games before that, I went back and took a look. He was 11 of 40. He was not shooting well from 3 going into that game. And then he went off and had a 4 for 5 night. Last time he had a 4 for 5 night, I think he followed that up with a 5 3-pointer night. So he has the ability to get hot and really make a significant impact offensively on this team Monday night. To me, though, it's really about finding a way to neutralize Drew Timme if you're Baylor. The guards, I think, will kind of offset each other because Baylor's guards are great. Gonzaga's guards are great. It's what are you going to do with Drew Timme inside? Because he can run the floor. He can shoot a mid-range jumper. He's one of the best fundamental forwards I've seen in a long time in college basketball. He knows how to work a play with his back to the basket. Can Flo Thamba, Jonathan Chamo-Chachua, even Matthew Mayer, can they rise up to the occasion and defend this guy to the point where he doesn't have a significant impact on the game? Because if Drew Timme has like 25, 26 points, I think Gonzaga is going to win. If he's in that 15, 16-point range, then I think Baylor has a really good chance of winning.
Definitely a lot that goes into tonight when you analyze Gonzaga and their ability on the offensive end to screen and play off the screen. Baylor on the offensive end, their ability to shoot outside. Baylor, we talked about it just now with Stephen Carr, who's a Gonzaga expert, that Gonzaga's got the best 2-point offense in the country. Baylor has the best 3-point offense in the country, which that goes toe-to-toe tonight from an offensive perspective. Do you think it's a game in which Baylor's just going to have to keep up with Gonzaga scoring-wise?
I think Baylor's uniquely positioned to keep up with them, because if you've looked at their last two games with Arkansas and Houston, Baylor has shot well in both of those games. I mean, they shot better than 50% against Houston from both the field and from the three. I think with Arkansas, it was a bit below 50% from the floor, but they were over 50% from the three. I think that's kind of the line of demarcation for Baylor. They need to shoot in that range tonight, especially from the three, because you're right. They're the best three-point shooting team in the country. They're 41%. Gonzaga is actually far off. I think they're like 36% from three. So if Baylor shoots the way it shot the last two games from the three-point line, then they have a really good chance of keeping up with Gonzaga. If they can't, then they're going to have some difficulty, because it's not just that they have a great two-point offense. It's that Corey Kispert shoots 66% from the floor. Drew Timme shoots 68% from the floor. Their guards shoot well from the floor inside the arc. So, yeah, it's going to be a game where Baylor has to do what it does well, very well. Shoot the three, defend, force turnovers, play their pace, and just be there right there at the end. And if they're right there within the final 2 minutes where it's a one-possession game, I give them a good chance to win, because they've got that weapon on the outside in the three-point shot that five different guys can shoot 40% from.
Matthew, we'll hear from Scott Drew in his post-game press conference here in a second. Him and Davion Mitchell both going into the game tonight and what they said. Scott mentioned something along the lines of the pace of play. Somebody asked him about the pace of play and the way these two teams wanted to play, and whether or not Scott was going to adjust what he does to adhere to Gonzaga and try to really face Gonzaga. One of the things he mentioned was, hey, we don't have a ton of time. We're going to play our game and go out there with what we know how to do and not make drastic adjustments based on our opponent. What do you make of that? Do you think Baylor should be preparing specifically for this Gonzaga team, or are they to a point now where they can just do what they do and let it work its way out on the court?
I think they could make some adjustments here or there that would, do some things that might give Gonzaga trouble. But really, when you get to this point in the year, and I think that Mark Few and Scott Drew have both been kind of in the back of their minds preparing for this game for 4 months, even though they didn't get the chance to play in December, and they tried through mid-January to try and get the game scheduled, and they couldn't do it. Based on what Mark Few said, watching this team from afar and marveling at it the last 2 years, I think both of them in the back of their minds have been preparing for this particular moment. So they probably have some things that they wouldn't mind inserting into their game plan tonight. But for me, for Baylor, you get to this point, even with Gonzaga, it's about doing what you do well and doing what you do well for 40 minutes. And for Baylor, that's shooting the three, defending, forcing turnovers, converting those turnovers into points, and putting Gonzaga into positions where they take shots they don't want to take. And I feel like if they can do what they do well, which they've done very well the last two games, then they have every chance to win this game.
Matthew, last question for you here as far as gameplay goes. Before we get to our Bear games, I want to know, you've got two teams, Gonzaga, who's a mid-major, and then Baylor, who I would consider, honestly, objectively, a mid-major school in a Power 5 conference. Most of the private schools are like that. TCU, I think, fits the bill. Vanderbilt, Northwestern. If you're looking at Power 5 conferences that are a little bit smaller, have that tight, private family feel, Baylor's on that line. Two universities that don't get a ton of publicity outside of when they're unbelievable at basketball or another sport. We get that. We get those two schools in the national championship and the country talking about it. How big is that for Baylor and the Big 12?
I think it's a big deal for Baylor, certainly. They, especially with everything that's happened overall at that athletic program the past few years. I mean, I think they've managed to finally wipe the taste of that out of their mouths collectively between what Matt Rule did with the football program, what Kim Mulkey has continued to do with the women's program there, and now with Scott Drew getting them to a national championship game. Scott's always done things the right way there, for 18 years, and it's a real testament to his ability to build a consistent winning program. Them winning would be a big deal for the Big 12 because they haven't won a national championship in the Big 12 since 2008 when Kansas won. Tech got a couple years ago. They lost. Kansas got a year before that. They weren't able to win either. So while the conference has been consistently good and consistently a part of the Final Four landscape since it started in 1996, they've only won one championship during that span, and that was the title that Kansas won in 2008. So it'd be a big deal for the conference to be able to say that they have a national champion within their array of schools. Another coach who has coached in the Final Four. The majority of these coaches in this conference have all coached in the Final Four at some point. So it really does enhance the reputation of the conference, but it would mean a lot more for Baylor. You know, when you think about Scott Drew already sitting on a really good recruiting class for 2021, the 2022 cycle is going to start kicking up soon. He knows he's going to have kids that are probably going to declare for the NBA draft. He might have a kid or two that goes into the portal. There's like 1,000 kids sitting in the transfer portal right now, and I'm betting some of them would love to have a conversation with Scott Drew and Baylor before they make their final decision.
Sustained success. They're good this year. They should be good for years to come. Let's hope that holds true. Matthew, our Bear Games questions of the day. What's your final score prediction and your leading scorer for Baylor? We'll start right there.
I think my final score prediction was in my bracket was 72-70. Leading scorer for Baylor tonight, I think it has to be Jared Butler. I think it has to be him. I think Davion could potentially be their leading scorer, but he's been such a good passer and such a good facilitator the past couple of games that I think it's going to be Jared Butler. Probably Jared Butler needs to score at least 20 points in this game. He needs to have that kind of ball game.
Tell you what, Matthew, I'll say this. I don't think he will be, but if Flo Thamba is the leading scorer and he puts up 10 or 15, Baylor wins by 40. I was really hoping you said Flo Thamba was the leading scorer. I don't know that he's scored double digits yet this season as a starter. How about this, though? Last question for you. I know you're an SFA guy. You cover the Big 12, objective journalist here. So you cover the whole conference, not just Baylor. But if Baylor does win, will there be any celebrating for you and your household tonight?
For me, no, honestly. I mean, I don't have any ties to Baylor. So, for me, that's where that comes in. And that's part of the reason I'm able to do the job so objectively. I don't have any ties to these schools tangibly, aside from SFA. So for me, no celebrating, just a lot of writing afterward, win or lose.
Win or lose. I love it. Matthew Postins from Harlan College Sports. Thanks so much for joining the show today, as always.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I love it. All right, for those out there still watching, there's a whole lot of folks today that are on and tuned in to Up Tempo with Baylor playing in the national championship tonight. If you're on Facebook watching us or on Periscope, go over to YouTube. Subscribe to the SicEm365 YouTube page. Watch us there. Coming up after this break, we got Scott Drew and Davion Mitchell. There was 12 minutes. I usually only put the best sound bites into this stuff. And it was all good. There were 12 minutes that these two guys went on that were unbelievably, just such good content here coming up from Scott Drew as he prefaces tonight's matchup with Gonzaga after this break. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
The national championship game is set, and it's the one we've all been waiting for. The Baylor Bears will face the Gonzaga Bulldogs tonight at 8:20 on CBS for the national championship game. The teams that have been 1-2 all year long finally face off after their earlier meeting in the season was canceled due to COVID. Baylor absolutely stomped number 2 seed Houston 78-59 in the Final Four to reach the championship game, and Gonzaga beat 11 seed UCLA only by 3 points on a last-second buzzer beater in overtime from Jalen Suggs. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist's office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots.
No, go find your own.
Come on, give me some of your tots.
No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Pauline, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
Did I make it back? Am I here? Armstrong, talk to me.
You're back.
I pressed the wrong button. That's so good. That's so good. We're remote today. It's the hotel bed back there. I got my Baylor stuff. I know my clothes are everywhere, and my lucky shirt's drying out. You guys gotta wear your lucky shirts tonight. Got the old Baylor drip. Look at that. Baylor in the Final Four. Bought that puppy. I'll show you guys some of this stuff today. We had a fun trip here in Indianapolis. How about this, too? This may be my favorite one. Look at that right there. Baylor Final Four. Got all the teams down there. You got a real classic. You ever go to your mom or dad's closet, or maybe when you were younger you did, and you found their old shirts from college. You're like, this looks so old and vintage. And, well, that's these suckers, Like, My kids are going to go to my closet one day, like, Dad, can I wear this for 2000s Day? It's 2020 Day today at school. What am I going to wear? And they're going to take one of those shirts. They're going to take a mask and wear a mask to school. And that's because Baylor's playing in the national championship tonight. Wow, guys. Soak it all in. It is unbelievable. You don't get this every day of the week. Look at that. Come on. You know I'm prepared. I think that's the right side, isn't it? You're going to have to help me if it's not, Armstrong. I think that's the right side of my is that it? Is that the lightning bolt side? Oh, it's not. Is it this side? Armstrong.
I literally can't tell.
Oh, wow. Well, that's really a bummer. You hate to see that. I guess it's kind of gone away. All right, but hey, we got Scott Drew Bites right here with Davion Mitchell. Big game tonight. Getting ready for it. I don't know. It's on one of the sides. Getting ready for it, folks. Here's the top 12 minutes. Top 12 minutes of Scott Drew and Davion Mitchell. Check it out.
Well, first, want to wish everyone a happy Easter. Second of all, Coach Few and I, when we were together on December 5th and the game got canceled, we said, how neat would it be to play this game on April 5th? And God always has a plan, and you got a great game in store, hopefully. I've heard a stat that it's been since 1962 where you had two teams that were ranked in the top three the entire season met in the national championship game, and it's so hard in college basketball, 40-minute games with illnesses, suspensions, injuries, transfers, whatnot, and again, in a 40-minute game, anything can happen, so the best team might not always win, but you look at it, both teams have really handled the expectations and pressure, and both teams are in this position, so we're excited. Players always want to play against the best, and Gonzaga's definitely been the best this year as far as haven't been beaten yet.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, how difficult is it to defend Gonzaga's obviously great outside shooting and Drew Timme inside?
Well, no one's done it. It's the best offense in college basketball, and I don't know how many years analytically. They're number one. We're number two. Offenses, both of us are top defenses in the country. Prior to the pause, we were top three the whole time. So I think you have elite on elite, and players are going to make plays. We just want to make things as difficult as possible for them. Easy buckets, transition buckets, second chance points. Those are huge in games like this.
Hey, Scott, Curtis Quillen, KCEN, Channel 6 in Waco. What's the biggest key for you guys yourselves tomorrow night?
There's a lot of keys, but I think it starts with keeping Gonzaga out of transition. We can't give them the 25 points or whatever they're scoring per game in transition. You got to make things as tough as possible, and we can't give them easy ones.
Hey, Scott, first off, congratulations. And secondly, I wanted to ask you, everyone talks about you guys coming out of that pause and sort of how it took a while to get your legs back. What was the challenge to kind of get everyone back to where they were, and how did you get them there?
Great question. From talking to other coaches, they said 4 games, 2-week period, practices in between, get you back. We came back, we played 6 games, 14 days. So you were just basically playing, recovering, prepping, but no practicing. And at the end of the day, you can't be good at defense and not practice it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So once we lost in the conference tournament, in the Big 12 tournament, we were able to practice for the first time where we really could get better. And I really credit the players because late in the season, a lot of times players don't want to practice hard. They're worried about their legs or saving their body or don't want to get injured. And our players really bought in that our defense was slipping. We had to get back to where we were. They really practiced hard, competed hard. And because of that, the last couple of weeks, our defensive rotations, our defensive closeouts have gotten so much better and obviously a lot more similar to what they were prior to the pause.
Scott, besides representing Baylor in the Big 12, you guys are also representing the state of Texas, which had a pretty good NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. What would it mean to you to become the second team from this state to win a national championship after that 66 Texas Western team?
Well, I think it'd mean a lot for our state. There's so many great high school coaches and high school players and AAU programs, junior colleges, universities that really have supported their basketball programs. And I think in the next 20 years or so, there's going to be a lot more Texas schools in Final Fours and having chances to win national championships because of that. But you do definitely want to represent the state that is so well represented with outstanding basketball players at all levels, high school, college, and professionally.
Scott, congratulations. I wanted to ask you, you obviously played rematches many times within seasons. That's what the nature of conference play. Mm-hmm. Do you feel better about the fact that this isn't a rematch because you get a fresh look? Mm-hmm. Or would you have liked the idea of having been through it and, okay, now we know what we need to do?
Well, I think in a perfect world, we wouldn't have lost this year. They wouldn't have lost this year. And then we played right now. And that would have been, that's how, if I was God, I think I'd have done that script. But there's something about the first time you play and the excitement about that, trying to think how things will go and how they'll play out. I think this is perfect how it's worked out.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. And I wanted to ask about whether you see aspects of your team in Gonzaga at all, because both of your teams are just so deep and so deadly from every region in the court. I was curious if that, affects how you game plan for this. Does it make it easier or harder if you see elements of your own team in your opponent?
Yeah. Well, I think it makes it easier because that means you practiced against it. But it kind of reminds you back to the old days of the Celtics and Lakers, where when I heard Larry Bird retiring or Magic retiring, they were talking about they were always watching each other, and it kept them motivated and kept pushing them to be better. And I think with Gonzaga and us the last 2 years, we followed what they've done. They've followed what we've done. And I know it's motivated us to continue to get better, continue to try to improve, to keep up and keep pace. And you need that competition. You need teams like this to bring out the best in you. So I know their guys are going to be excited. I know we're going to be excited, and hopefully everyone gets a great game.
Hey, Coach, I'm curious, you spoke at your introductory press conference, 18 years ago about how this program could play in a Final Four and win a national championship. As you sit here now on the precipice of playing 4-1 and having just competed in the Final Four, what are your thoughts when you think back to that time?
I looked a lot younger, had a lot more hair back then. That's first and foremost. Second of all, I definitely thought and believed 100% that we could be in this position. And you look at Baylor athletics, 14 out of 17 programs in the top 25, several national champions. Mack Rhodes is an outstanding athletic director. President Livingstone's a great president. And they want their student athletes to be elite in not only athletics, but also prepare champions for life. That's academically, spiritually, and character formation. So I definitely thought we could get here. Probably at that age, I thought we'd get here quicker. But 2010, 2012, we lost to 2 national champions, and it makes you appreciate it that much more and know just how tough and how blessed you are when you do have this opportunity.
Karthik Venkataraman from KREM2 in Spokane.
Hey, Coach Drew. My name is Karthik.
So who are you cheering for?
I'm a journalist. I don't cheer for anyone.
Yeah, okay.
But KREM2 Sports over here in Spokane. I just wanted to get your, what was your reaction to Jalen Suggs' shot last night?
Well, it was probably like everyone on the 8th floor at the hotel. Pandemonium erupted, and guys that's what makes March so special, when you have plays like that for the next 25, 30, 40 years, people are going to be playing and talking about, and just the raw emotion involved. And that's what makes March Madness so special.
Hey, Scott. So Gonzaga had not been pushed to overtime until UCLA did it. And prior to UCLA, only West Virginia had kept that margin in single digits. I'm just wondering if you can quantify for us how much that single game result maybe alters your prep and scout for Gonzaga. How much do you weigh the body of work, look at tape from the Virginia game, Iowa, Kansas, their first game of the season, and balance what Gonzaga showed there versus what UCLA showed could be some potential vulnerabilities and kind of getting a full look at your best approach to trying to beat them tomorrow night?
Well, I think with the short turnaround, first and foremost, coaches can't make that many adjustments. Meaning you're going to do what you've done all season that's gotten you here, and you might have a couple minor tweaks, but you're not gonna change too much. If that game had gone maybe 4 or 5 overtimes, maybe we'd have done some different things where you press a lot more or something like that, because maybe the fatigue would be an issue. But we're going to play to our strengths. I know they're going to play to their strengths. At the end of the day, both teams are very good. Both teams are very competitive, and I know we're going to try to make things as difficult on them. They're going to try to make them as difficult on us. But I know our players are excited about this opportunity to play against such a great team.
Hey, Davion, curious, as you guys are watching the game last night, how much are you kind of hoping that the Zags pull that off so you guys get the opportunity to play them in the national championship game?
We didn't really pay much attention to it. Like, we didn't, it wasn't really a thing where we have to play the Gonzaga. We wanted to play them, but it's like we wasn't pulling for them. We wasn't pulling for UCLA either. It was just whoever we was going to play, we was going to be ready for them. We was going to try our best to get their best shot, and they get our best shot.
Hey, Davion, Karthik from Creme 2 Sports in Spokane. Your nickname's Off Night because you often take players off their game and, shut them down. Gonzaga rarely has an off night. What do you need to do to, stick to your name?
I just got to make it hard for them. Like you said before, Gonzaga usually don't have off nights. But I think every game is different. Who knows? Everyone is not going to be hot. Hopefully I can just slow the person down that eventually gets hot. That's my job, is to slow them down. My job is not to stop them from scoring at all. Everyone's really good at this game. Especially because we're in a national championship. They got really good players who can make plays for themselves and for them teammates. So my job is to just limit that.
Davion, is there any more satisfying stat line for a point guard than 11 assists and 0 turnovers?
No, as long as we got the win, that's all that matters to me. It wouldn't matter if I would have had 2 points and 0 assists. If we would have had the win, that's all that really matters.
Zach Braziller, New York Post. Davion, a lot of eyes are going to be on you and Jalen Suggs. Obviously 2 of the premier guards in the country. How much of a challenge is this going to be for you, and how much are you looking forward to just going up against a guy who people think is going to be a top 2, top 3 draft pick?
I'm definitely looking forward to the matchup. I bet he's watched some of our games, and I watched some of his games. We both probably familiar with each other, but I know for him, he's not really looking at the matchup. And for me, I'm not really too big on the matchup. I'm just worried about Baylor versus Gonzaga. That's my thing. I don't really get too caught up in any matchups who I play. I don't care if they're the number 1 pick or not. I just try to do my thing and do what it takes to win.
How hard is it going to be? He's obviously a terrific player. How challenging will it be to slow him down?
It'd definitely be challenging. Just because those guys, just because the people he got around him is even more dangerous, I think, especially because he can facilitate the ball. And when you got shooters around you, it's kind of hard to – our team is going to be kind of like hard to help. Just because you got so many shooters and guys that can make plays off the bounce, and you have a big that can score anywhere on the floor. So it's definitely going to be hard. I think to make it to the national championship is hard. So we're ready for it.
Hey, Davion, Drake Toll, SicEm365 Radio. You guys are on the nation's biggest stage with all eyes of the country on you. Is there any stage too big for this team?
No, I don't think so. Just because we all play for one another. We all play for one man, and that's the man above. So we don't really look at no state is big for us. Just because we know we got each other backs, and yeah.
And welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den remote. Drake Toll here, breaking things down at the end of the show on Up Tempo today. Baylor in the national championship. Now, okay, it's 3 o'clock local time where I am in Indianapolis. The game is at 9:20. We still have, holy crap, guys. Everybody hold the phone for a second. We still have 6 hours Oh my gosh. We have 6 hours till the game goes on today. Armstrong, you ready for celebrity birthdays?
I am.
All right, before we get to that, I'm going to give my prediction. Armstrong, I want to hear your prediction. Final score, leading score.
For me?
Yep.
I think I got my leading scorer as also Matthew Meyer. I agree with that take. If he goes off, Baylor wins for sure, 89-82.
Okay, and how you celebrating?
By doing a SicEm365 post-game show, baby.
We'll be live tonight. I won't be live, but somebody will be live in studio tonight, SicEm365. Tune in via the YouTube. Oh, it's going to be big. That's going to be big, big. All right, celebrity birthdays today. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take my final score as 81-77. It's a 2-point game. Gonzaga has the basketball. Baylor gets a crucial stop. Gonzaga foul. And it's got to be, give me Davion Mitchell that hits both the free throws at the end. Either Mitchell or Teague that hits 2 free throws at the end to make it a 4-point game. Gonzaga's not able to score another one. 81-77 is the final score. Gonzaga's going to get their 70. Baylor wins it by 4. Real quick, Pharrell Williams' birthday today, because I'm happy. Pharrell Williams.
32.
48. Wild.
48.
Wild. I know. That's what I said. Okay. There's not a lot else going on here. Betty Davis Eyes is her birthday today, but who gives?
70.
No, Betty Davis is like 113. Antwerp is officially declared the host city for the 7th Olympiad to be conducted first post-World War I Olympics.
52.
Antwerp. 1919, post-World War I Olympics. You think they'd wait till 52 before they did a 1980? You know what time it is.
Later, guys.
This has been Up-Tempo on National Championship Game Day. It is Baylor and Gonzaga tonight, the biggest game in the country. The eyes of the nation are upon you. Baylor fans, soak it in. You only get it once in a lifetime. Love it, enjoy it, eat it up tonight. Baylor, Gonzaga, National Championship game. We'll be back at 11 o'clock tomorrow. You come back, you see us right here, win or lose, and you call us all day long. I love it. Give me it. Baylor wins it all tonight. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. And this has been from Indianapolis, Indiana, the home of the national championship, Up-Tempo.
But I'm sure most people tune into don't want to hear our food opinions. They want to hear about Gonzaga Baylor. This is the matchup we've been waiting for. You and I were in the lobby of the JW Marriott in December and so excited for that matchup. And then it got canceled at the last minute. And that was kind of a depressing day. We watched Baylor football lose that night, so it was just an all around bummer. But here we are, 3 months later, 4 months later, and we're going to see that matchup in person. And I mean, what an incredible storyline for these two programs. Just the 2-year run that these two programs have had is incredible. For Baylor fans, it's kind of nostalgic because we hope that we win the game, but it's kind of sad to see this, nucleus play their last games in a Baylor uniform. And so I just hope, the fans appreciate all that this team has meant to us over the years. And we've covered them closely. We followed the ride from beginning to end, both seasons. What are some of your thoughts as we enter into this matchup tonight, Jason?
You're right. I mean, I'm kind of sad about it in a way. I mean, everyone should be happy, and I am happy that they're playing in the championship. But I probably shouldn't. I should just savor this moment before looking too far ahead. But meaning all these guys being gone, because I do hate that this is the last time we're going to see Davion and Vital probably Butler and T and the nucleus. And it's just been such a great 2 years. And, I saw Freddie and Devontae Bandu last night as well. And I mean, I've said it before, just from a media standpoint, having done this for 20 years, I can't remember ever covering a team that had this many, or that just had a locker room full of this many great people, character-wise, that were all on the same page, that represented the school the right way. There's not one bad seed, bad apple in that locker room all the way up to the coaches. And I think that's the reason why, along with a lot of talent, that they're having so much success, but just a joy. They like to use the culture of joy, Jesus, others, yourself. I just thought about joy in general, joy to cover. I mean, joy to be around. I mean, such a great spirit. There's a picture of Vital yesterday from the game the other night. He had one of the worst games of his season, 2 points, 1 rebound, foul trouble, which has kind of plagued him in the whole tournament. And, you would think that after the fourth or fifth straight game of that, he would be frustrated, maybe some bad body language. But there's this picture of him hugging Mark Patterson after the game. And I mean, it just radiates energy and happiness and joy. And that, to me, that's what really encapsulates him and encapsulates this team. Is he doesn't care that he scored 2 points. I mean, he's happy for his teammate, Mark Patterson, getting that basket. He's happy they're moving on. It's not about him. Yeah. And maybe 4 years ago, he wouldn't have been that way, but it just shows how the culture of this program can change someone. And it's really all just kind of crescendoing at just the right time.
Yeah. It's I've been able to spend some time with some of the parents and families while we've been in Indianapolis for so long. The Mitchells, the Butlers, the Teagues, and just great people. And, certainly Zach Loveday met his parents for the first time. I talked to his dad on the phone for a long time during the recruitment, but they just talked about how thrilled they were that Zach was at Baylor, and how he's improving and getting better every day. So, I mean, it's just such a great culture. It's a joy to watch. It's a joy to cover. We'll probably do a podcast after the season, just a trip down memory lane. But for tonight, what do you think some of the keys are to this matchup? Gonzaga is obviously a historically great offensive team. It looks like Baylor's playing back to the level where, arguably the best defense in the country. I think Coach K said on a serious podcast that in 47 years of coaching, he'd never seen defense like Baylor played against Villanova in the second half. I mean, that's an incredible statement from a Hall of Fame coach, maybe the best ever, to coach the game.
There's been a lot of bulletin board quotes that Baylor can really use in recruiting. I think from some of these opposing coaches. Martin Few said yesterday that Baylor was a legit powerhouse in college basketball now, and even though we know it here as Baylor fans, to have him say that and have the whole country hear it, is pretty cool. So, when I look at this Gonzaga team, the thing that scares me the most, just because of the matchup and the personnel, is just Timmy down low, just operating and kind of having his way in the paint. I just think that's going to be really tough for Baylor to stop. I think they've got to find, as you said earlier, I won't take credit, just find a way to make him uncomfortable, find a way to try to keep him from catching the ball, or there was so many times when he just would catch that ball one-on-one against UCLA. And it just looked so easy, it's just all automatic. So, maybe he's got to get his, someone's got to, score 20 plus for them. And maybe probably that's him. But I think that's one of the big keys. Well, what are some of the things you're looking at?
No, I think that's the big key for me is making it work extremely hard on defense. Watching that UCLA game, Jaime Jaquez, I think that's how you pronounce his name, number 4 for UCLA, was able to take Timmy and Kispert off the dribble and create some problems, make them work harder. Some of Timmy's foul trouble came, from helping, in those situations. So I think if Matt Meyer may be a real key to, he's a similar skill set, a better player than Jaime, in my opinion. So if he's able to, take those guys off the dribble and create some mismatches and get to the foul line, dump off to John, John gets, I think 6 or more free throws for John would be a key also. If we can get the guys in foul trouble and, get them thinking and playing a physical game, it's to our advantage because they don't have much depth behind him. They bring in Antoine Watson, but he's a guy, it's funny, like Mark Vital, his numbers efficiency wise go up in these the better the competition, the better Mark Vital's efficiency numbers. Antoine Watson's a guy that's seen a big drop off in efficiency numbers against top competition.
Well, with Vital, I feel for him because, he's been here 5 years, and I just feel like this has not been a good tournament for him because of foul trouble. And I feel like with all he's put into the program, he deserves to go out on a personal note a little better. And I hope this is the game for him. And, if you think back 2 years ago, and I know the personnel is different, things of that sort, but he was really playing well against Gonzaga. I guess that was 3 years ago. Or no, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, and really playing well. And then he got a really tough, I think it was fourth foul call early in the second half.
Yep.
That was tough. So he's had success against these guys, and should be raring to go and confident. And I don't know. I just think he's riled up and ready to leave it all on the court. And hopefully the refs, he's got to do a better job, as you said, of staying in front of guys and if you get beat, not slap them on the elbow or whatever. But I just feel like he'll be riled up tonight, and I just gathered that from talking to him.
Yeah, no question. And I think, another key is limiting Gonzaga's transition points. They're one of the best teams in the history of college basketball at, after made baskets, pushing the pace quick. They don't turn you over that much, but Jared specifically can be a little sloppy with the ball at times. And we just can't give them, runaway layups and dunks. They're incredibly fast in transition. They get easy, points in the paint. And if Baylor can limit those, I think, to 10 or less, they average 27. So that's a big task. But if Baylor could really limit those, I think, the Bears have a really good shot of winning this game.
They average 27 in transition, 27 points a game.
I think that's the number I heard. 27 points a game in transition, which is an astronomical number.
Yeah. And, Baylor, let's just face it. We're sitting here gloating over Gonzaga, which we should. They're phenomenal. But Baylor's really good, too. They do a lot of great things. And the thing they really do well is shoot threes, and at least in some games, most games. And let's face it, I think to win this game tonight, they're going to need to hit, 12 to 14 threes. That would certainly help. They can't hit 6. I don't think going 6 to 26 is going to do it. But they got to get hot from the outside, and they got the guys to do it. And also, I think it's really been encouraging, what we've seen from Baylor's bench. They had that little spell kind of toward the end of the Big 12 and then in the Big 12 tournament where they just weren't giving you anything. I think last game, John, that was the first time he had reached double figures since December 29th. Obviously, Matt is playing really well and Flagler. So, man, we said early in the season, I remember we were here for that Illinois game, in Indianapolis back on December 1st or whatever it was, December 2nd. And I remember Flagler coming in and scoring about 19 or 17. And we just thought, man, the difference in this Baylor team, the thing that separates them is they're not 5 or 6 deep. They're a solid 8 deep. And we're seeing that. That went away for a while, and they were still mustering some wins and eking out some wins. But when they got those 8 guys going, they're tough.
Yeah, no, and you got to say Baylor has the advantage in the backcourt. As great as Gonzaga's backcourt is with Nimbard and Suggs and IE, Baylor having 4 and having Davion Mitchell, who I would argue is the best guard in this game. Jalen Suggs may be the number 1 pick in the draft, but I think that combo of Mitchell and Butler and Teague, is a better combo than the 3 that Gonzaga has. And then you bring Flagler off the bench, so that's just an advantage for Baylor. But obviously the advantage for Gonzaga is Timmy and Kispert, and Kispert's ability at 6'7" to stretch the floor and really drive to the basket. Those two are, 19 point per game scorers. And that's rare to have such a great backcourt and then have 2 incredible offensive players like them. But Baylor's bench is better and Baylor's got to really take advantage of their bench depth. And, I think if this game is called closely, like if there's a lot of fouls called, in a way that favors Baylor because you can get some of those starters in foul trouble, but it also makes it more likely that it's not a high scoring game. So, probably the tighter, it makes it more likely that it is a high scoring game is what I meant to say. If they let them play, it could surprise us and go the under, more like a Villanova Baylor vibe. But if they call it a little tighter, then it'll definitely get in the 80s, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that as good as Gonzaga is, it's been a while, if at all, this season since they've seen a defense like that they're going to see tonight. And I don't know. I mean, they certainly didn't see it in their conference. I feel like for the most part in the tournament, I mean, UCLA was really good the other night, but it was still, in terms of just the defensive intensity Baylor's going to bring, that's just something they haven't seen. Now, these are all high-level players. I'm not saying they can't adjust to it, but, what I like about Baylor's mentality too right now is I think they wanted Gonzaga to win that game the other night. I think, a lot of times fans, you're thinking, oh, let's hope Gonzaga gets knocked off. And, that'll make our path easier. And although UCLA was really darn good, but I think Baylor deep down is glad they're playing Gonzaga. I mean, they want to play the best. They want to win this title by beating the best. And that's what we've got. And, it's what a great deal, man. I mean, like, how many times does college basketball does the season truly end with the two best teams? I mean, that's what you always want, but it rarely happens in the tournament where the two best teams are actually there playing at the end. But that's what we've got this time, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just was looking up the stats. I know you live and die by stats and efficiency numbers and so forth. I'm kidding, but Kansas, had a really good defense this year, but at the beginning of the year they did not. I mean, they got better as the year went along. Virginia did not have their typical great defense this year. They were not even in the top 35 in defensive efficiency. So the only elite defensive team that Kansas has gone up against is USC.
Gonzaga, yeah.
And USC, I mean, I was just shocked at how just unprepared or, just like unwilling to, take on the fight, they were in that game. I actually expected that to be a close game. And I would have expected UCLA to be more of the blowout, going into those two contests. But, I do think that, like you said, going up against this defense and, Baylor's efficiency ratings don't really tell the story of how great this defense is. The defense has been spectacular in the tournament. And if I'm trying to be unbiased, which of course I do, I have biases, but I think this is a toss-up game. I mean, the line is 4.5, 5 or 5.5 is 4.5, but that's taken into account, Baylor's COVID pause. Baylor is certainly playing like they were in the beginning of February, after Texas. And at that time, all the efficiency ratings were, Baylor and Gonzaga were neck and neck. In fact, Baylor was actually ahead of Gonzaga in the efficiency ratings at that time. And if you look at just the tournament, Baylor's ahead of Gonzaga in the efficiency ratings, the advanced stats just for the tournament.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a toss-up game. I mean, I don't think, the 4.5 line is indicative of how close this matchup is on paper.
Yeah. It's neat to see too, because I think going into the tournament, all the commentators and the national people were like, it's Gonzaga to lose, it's Gonzaga and everyone else. And I think through these last 5 games, Baylor has, catapulted itself back up into that slot right alongside them in everyone's mind. And I think now people would agree with you. I mean, a lot of people are picking Baylor in this game, which they might not have picked Baylor, 3 weeks ago. So, no matter what happens, this program and this team has earned the respect of everyone. And it's just so nice to, some of the same people that used to rip on Baylor to me or text to me and saying, hey, your team is awesome and good luck. And, I'd meet these Gonzaga fans and they're like, wow, Baylor's so good. You know what I mean? And there's just a respect. It's great to see, especially when you consider all the crap that, we've heard for 18 years or whatever. And to finally see on a national level, it's finally flipped. And Scott Drew has this program at just the reputation is just tremendous. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of mutual respect. And I think there's also a lot of Indiana Hoosier fans that are going to be in the arena tonight or the stadium, I guess I should say, that are going to be rooting for Baylor because they don't want to see that 1976 Indiana's undefeated.
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're rooting that Baylor pulls this off. Do you think the pressure of being undefeated is going to have any impact on the game whatsoever tonight? Or is that more probably that game against UCLA and tonight it's just like,
I don't really think the undefeated. I think there's just pressure to win the title at this point and pressure to live up to that, their billing, but I doubt it. I doubt it's more about winning the title now for them. You know, the undefeated thing probably, you know, hovered over them during the regular season and the conference tournament, but I don't know. I don't think so now. So,
well, two things to watch for, in my opinion. One is, you know, Andrew Nembhard. A lot of people talk about the matchup of Jalen Suggs and Davion Mitchell, and they'll probably be on each other quite a bit. But Andrew Nembhard is actually their top assist guy in the tournament and is a lot more efficient. He doesn't turn it over as much. So, you know, I do expect him to be on the ball, maybe perhaps a little bit more than Suggs is, but like Baylor, it's a dual point guard situation. So Suggs and Nembhard for Gonzaga, Butler and Mitchell for Baylor will control the ball a lot. And then, you know, two of the most underrated players in the nation that don't get enough love is Joel Ie. He averages 7 rebounds a game, terrific defensive rebounder, and Maceo Teague. Maceo, and the thing about Maceo that Charlie Melton told us in an interview we did with him is just how elite his endurance is and how he is still playing at a peak level at the end of a game, whereas, you know, other guys maybe at 85% or 90% because of fatigue. But we've seen that in the last few games. We saw that in the Arkansas game where he hit some big threes. We saw that in the Houston game, even though the spread, you know, was certainly huge. I mean, he had 11 second half points. What are there any players that you kind of expect maybe to have a breakout game, or what are you watching for tonight that might be a surprise to the average fan?
I think Matthew Meyer is a guy that is going to come out just eager to, you know, not prove himself, but eager to play well and maybe expose, like you said, some matchup problems. And, you know, maybe he's thinking he can play himself into the draft. I don't know, but you know, in games or moments like this, but I think he'll be a factor. And to me, I think just like we've said all along, I think Butler is a huge key. You know, I mean, when he's playing at all-American level, man, this is a tough team to beat. And he was the other night for the first half. You know, but then he took one shot in the second half. It was just kind of weird. He scored. So it doesn't matter. I mean, you're up by 25 points, but hopefully he can, you know, dial it up the whole game. And it's the national championship game, of course, he's going to. So, but he needs to be playing at a high level. And to me, I mean, if he misses the first shot or two, I don't care. I mean, I hope he shoots through whatever slump he's in. You know what I mean? In the game, I mean, like, just because you miss a shot or two, I don't want to see him all of a sudden become tentative. I mean, he's gotten this team here. Now he needs to play with aggression and play like an All-American, and I think he will. So those are two guys I think that if they are playing at a high level, both of them especially, they're going to have a good chance to win the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Two stats about Matthew Meyer that may surprise you. I'll put in this how they match up preview. One is he is the best defensive rebounder on the court tonight by percentage per minute. So he's an outstanding defensive rebounder. And the second is he's number one in steal percentage per minute. He'll be on the court tonight. So he, you know, even though he hasn't played big minutes, sometimes only 15 minutes a game, 20 minutes a game, he brings the productivity. You know, he definitely does some things that other than scoring, you know, he does rebound defensively really well. He has a great steal percentage. He's had a terrific tournament and just a great season in general. But So any other parting comments before we call it a wrap?
No, I think I'm going to try to go to the gym.
I'll meet you there. You got to get a workout in before the game.
I got to do something, to get my energy back. But I tell you what, man, I'm excited about tonight. You know, think about all the games and moments we've been to covering Baylor, and as a media member or a fan or whatever, and this is as big as it's ever been. And, you know, I'm proud of my alma mater, and you know, it's exciting.
Great PR for the school. Great accomplishment for Scott Drew, this whole staff, the culture that they built. The future is very bright for Baylor basketball. And obviously it would be even brighter if they're the first team since 1966 from the state of Texas. I think Texas Western won it in 66.
Western was in 66, I'm not sure what year, but it's something.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the year's right, but I know Texas Tech had that opportunity to do it, and they blew a lead late, and Virginia beat them. But Baylor is able to cross the finish line here. It would be historic for Texas basketball as well. So I know all of our rival fan bases are rooting for the Bears with
yeah,
just like we would be rooting for them. Well, you've been listening to a SicEm365 podcast with Ashley Hodge and Jason King.